Well, a brand new match to close out the Pinnacle Cup as some unlikely opposition are in server today as Endpoint take on Spirit to decide who will take home the $80,000 and, of course, the championship of the Pinnacle Cup number 2. I'm the Eternal Dre. I have the honor of being joined by Dweg for the final match of the tournament, the final match of the tournament before the player break as well. One of the final few matches that we'll get before the player break in general, Dweg. And for both teams as well, we've talked about the ideas of going on the highs of the highs, being able to get a championship win just before they hit that player break, before they go on holiday. And for both sides, it's got to be a very, very important match now, knowing how far that they've come, knowing the history that is behind these two teams as of this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And knowing, too, that both teams in their respected semi-finals just ripped winning streaks from their oppositions. Have a look at Sinners. They're on a 10-game winning streak. Have a look at Forza. They're on a 9-game winning streak. And for Endpoint and Spirit, they've been able to come through, come out on top. And for Endpoint, they came all the way for the main Swiss. They didn't get invited into this event straight into the quarterfinals.
No, they didn't, and that's the key thing, knowing that Endpoint have had such a flawless or nearly flawless run all the way up until this point. They won 3-0 during the Swiss stage. They got through their, as a result of their efforts through that Swiss stage, they got the extra layup as well in filling in one of the invitee spots and making their way forward into this. I mean, they had such a simple run, it felt like, throughout the course of this Swiss stage, and there were so many teams that you could have seen taking their position. So for them to hold their own in this one, to know that they've had this great record thus far in this tournament, it feels like maybe their consistency issues might be put to the side here for this matchup.
It might be. It definitely could be. Knowing some of the games that they played in that Swiss stage, they defeated Copenhagen Flames relatively easily. 2-0 up against Skade was quite an impressive result, but even just the way that they turned things around into the playoffs, beating Harvu in a 2-0 series, I know that went down quite to the wire, went into OT on both maps, and then to beat Sinners a little bit earlier this morning, honestly, I think going into that game, you probably would have pinned Sinners to be the favorite in that one, but they came out on top, and now they deserve a chance at the crack of the title.
I think they do. I think 100% right. Like, Endpoint's run so far in the bracket has taken on some tough opposition, but the same can also be said for the Spirit side. We just saw them earlier taking down Forza in a bit of a shaky little series there from their own part, but still a series that ultimately goes towards their way, and they've come here the short way around, Dweg. They've been playing in IEM Cologne, they've been playing in all these top-tier tournaments, and they've been doing a pretty decent job. So coming into this bracket, we look at them and we think that they're going to be the favourites in this bracket overall, but considering how they were doing a little bit earlier on today, I don't feel like it will be as confident as we thought initially.
No, I don't think so at all. Spirit, you have a look at this lineup, and they've got some tough boys, don't they? They've got some real big hard hitters on this side of the Russians. But honestly, they've been slightly disappointing, I guess, in terms of the caliber that they can bring. Maybe that's something that's only been to show in the quarterfinals up against Fiend and up against that CIS derby of Forza. But I want to see the Spirit that just goes nuts, the one that just looks incredible. And maybe if everyone sort of holds their fingers together, we might get that kind of Spirit in the finals here.
I think, honestly, we could well do it, but the issue is, again, seeing how well Forza were able to do against them earlier on, I guess that is kind of a bit of an El Clasico, and they have a bit of an intricate read on the likes of this team. So many maps play between the two, so you can think that, yeah, Forza might have the layup in that respect. Not the same can be said for Endpoint. There is a single map shared between these two sides coming into this game, and that was all the way back during MDL Season 32 in 2019. So we're talking about a very, very long time ago between these two cores, and obviously the lineups themselves have changed drastically since that point. Obviously, Dexter wasn't involved, and back then, Endpoint were known as Phoenix. They only had Crucial, Thomas, and Surreal involved. Mighty Max was not there. Mezzi most certainly was not there. And for Endpoint, I mean, we talked about the additions of the newer additions of Thomas coming back into the lineup. Mezzi, of course, having his own moments. And while those additions did seem like a very powerful sort of roster swap for the Endpoint side, they haven't really conduced to a confident Endpoint team, even though guys like Mezzi have been having some absolutely stellar series.
It's an odd one to have a discussion about, because when you look at the playstyles and you look at the POVs, you look at the stats of Thomas and Mezzi, it seems like it should be an immediate upgrade. It seems like this team is going to go up another level, but it hasn't quite happened. They've kind of stagnated around the same sort of level for a while now, and even with those two players performing individually at a very, very high level, the results just haven't really come. This is the first time that we've seen them in a grand final in what feels like forever. So for Endpoint, this is new territory of pressure, knowing, hang on a minute, we could win $80,000 if we just win this game against Spirit.
But what a team they've got to take on to try and get there, though, Dwayne. That's the sort of key thing. As mentioned, they could win $80,000 if they beat Spirit, but they've got to beat Spirit. This is a team that has been playing at the Tier 1 level, a level that Endpoint have not been at for a pretty long time. And I honestly feel like they've regressed since that point when they were playing in Pro League. I don't remember Spirit being part of that tournament. I don't remember them ever playing them or having the chance to play them over the course of their Pro League run. So for Endpoint, knowing they're up against a very, very different squad compared to the ones that they faced before, I feel like this is going to be a completely new showing from them.
Yeah, again, when you don't have head-to-heads between two teams, at least in recent time, you don't really know what to expect. In terms of the map pools, we probably know. I think Overpass is going to be a decent map for the Endpoint side. Ancient could be one that gets floated. Both teams don't mind a little bit of Ancient, and we saw both Overpass and Ancient coming through in that last series from Spirit.
Indeed, we did, and I wonder whether or not they'll try and float it in this particular map veto as well, Dwag. I can already get some these intimations as to where we'll lean towards these calls. Obviously, we know what the default bans can look like, but what would you consider to be a good veto for Endpoint?
I think going with Overpass, going with the strength is probably their best way going forward. Dust 2 coming out for Spirit, no surprises there whatsoever. It's their best map of the pool. Inferno coming out, that's a little bit more of a punish pick. It's not a great map for Endpoint, but it's a weak one for Spirit.
Indeed, it does kind of feel like that's the case. I mean, I would have thought that Overpass would have been the best way to go about that, but I guess we can take a look at Spirit and how they do an Overpass, and again, against Tier 1 opposition, that might not necessarily be the rightest of options, but we will be seeing Ancient coming in as that third map of the series, Dwayne. I'm seeing you shaking your head a little bit, or sort of like just umming and ahhing about that one. Tell me why.
Well, I have a look at what happened in the last series between Forza and Spirit. They tried to go in for a punish pick, Forza of Ancient, and look what happened. To me, personally, I think you have to play to your strengths. You have to be able to be comfortable in the veto. And I look at Inferno and I say to myself, this isn't a great map for Endpoint. They're doing it only because it's one of the worst maps in the pool for Spirit. But when you go up against Tier 1 opposition, that is a risk that I think may actually go the other way. It's a definite risk when it comes to veto. It's not how it probably could have panned out.
I think when you're taking on Tier 1 opposition, though, you kind of need to take those risks to be able to come out on top. I mean, there is always that discussion to have of where do you go towards Overpass. I mean, here's the thing. The main two options for Endpoint probably would have been Overpass or Inferno, given, again, how it's strong map for Endpoint, and how it's not a great map on Inferno for the likes of Spirit. And you look how, Spirit are great on Overpass to their own right, and you think to yourself, I mean, man, can we really take our home map in that respect? It's possible. I'd say it could be likely, but we've already seen how many teams they've beaten on it. They've gone over FaZe, they've gone over Na'Vi, they've gone over VP, they've gone over all these squads who are competing at the highest level of Counter-Strike, and I don't know if you have that same level of faith right now if you're Endpoint in that map pick.
Yeah, and I guess as well for Endpoint, you want to try and come into this series and just try and match up the best you can up against Spirit. I think the AWP duels is going to be something to keep an eye out for. We know that for Dexter, while he was a little bit hit and miss over the course of the series, he had some really high impact rounds. He was having some absolute round winners just by himself. 3Ks, 4Ks, even aces coming through for him. So if you're Crucial, you're thinking to yourself, man, I'm going to have to play to some of the best Counter-Strike I can.
Yeah, 100%, especially for him as well. We've seen how very inconsistent he can be at times. We've seen how inconsistent Dexter has been as well over the course of today. I mean, it has been a couple of crucial missed shots, but even then he's still been top fragging, so it's a bit of a weird one in that respect. But I look at the AWPs and I think how crucial that they could be, excuse the pun, in terms of being able to get this series together because of the nature of how inconsistent these two players can be. But I also look at other individuals as being the difference makers as well. Like, yeah, the AWP battle will be important, but that's never been the deciding factor, especially for Endpoint.
And we know, in terms of an A-tier event for Endpoint, they have never played in a grand final. Yeah, we've seen the grand finals for some of the smaller cups, the $20,000, $30,000 events, but this is $100,000, and you're facing off against a top 15 team in the world of Spirit. I've got to imagine, Endpoint, have they ever been pressured and tested in this kind of an environment before? No, they haven't.
That's another thing as well. Like, the difference between playing in something like, I don't know, let's take a grand final that they've had in the last year, something like a Fantasy Expo Cup, for example, which, for those who don't know, that was a qualifier to Blast. That's a completely different ball game by comparison to this event, which is $100,000 prize pool, A tier listed. That Fantasy Expo Cup was only a B tier list. And even comparing something like, like an ESCA Premier, for instance, we've seen how that one has always been a bit of a prestigious event, and Endpoint have competed in that pretty well. well, but the prize pool isn't quite there for them. There's still a very lower level of caliber of team by comparison to a team like Spirit. So for them, there is there is an aura around this grand final, and definitely something that could affect them mentally. For me, I don't want to look at them saying it's too much of a mental game effect, but I also do feel like that you might be onto something there, Dwayne. There might be a case that this team might have some sort of some aura around their grand final performance here. I guess to compare it to anything in recent times, it would be like the grand finals of the Euros, just to be on topic when it comes to the whole England thing, because Endpoint are not a team you traditionally expect to make it that far, and well, here they are.
And this is a great chance for them to prove themselves. You've mentioned some of the lower cups that they've played in, that they've won. It's been a long time since we've seen an Endpoint victory, where for Spirit, we know that, they're playing at a different caliber, so it is sometimes difficult to compare the pair because they're not going to be winning all those S-tier events, otherwise they'd be the best team in the world. So in that sort of a sense, we know that Spirit can handle the pressure of these kind of situations, and for Endpoint, a good opportunity for them to show themselves in this high-pressured situation. But for me, Jay, I'm thinking Spirit take this in 3. I think it's 2-1 for them.
I think it would be blasphemous for me to predict against Endpoint, so I'm going to go a very, very down-to-the-wire 3-map affair for the likes of Endpoint.
What? Honestly.
It's coming home, Dwayne, as far as I'm concerned. Pinnacle Cup is coming home. The Pinnacle odds do not have faith in the Endpoint side. I do think that every little bit that you said is right there, Dwayne, but for me, I'm all on home. I'm on English soil, so I have to believe in the boys of the T sideline as they start things off here on Dust 2. It will be a tough task to start in this series for them. Smokes are down, nades are up. Magic's taken 17 points of health, and Dexter waits back over at Goose to take facing against the T sideline. Sees so many of them out there towards that long control and gets no kill shots for it. Just damage done to Crucial, Mezzi, and Thomas spammed up, flashed out. Thomas opens up the matchup, takes down Dexter to kick things off. Chopper can respond towards Crucial as the smoke starts to clear. A resmoke goes down, and so does the bomb.
Oh, they boost a player up. They can deny the bomb from going down, but they miss the chance, and Mira even gets tagged up heavier. They don't know about Mighty Max at car.
15 HP for Mira at that short control, and on secondary boost back towards Elbow. Messi's going to see it. See his man, can't quite get a kill. Thomas can, though. Magic's able to respond back. Mighty Max trying to hold on as Thomas and Surreal clean up the players on the short control, and it's all left to SDY. 1 versus 3. Half the time remaining to get the defuse in. His kit has been dropped out there towards Elbow. Good tap on Mighty Max, at least. Just baiting a decent shot and trying to force the T-side players forward, but is unable to hold anything in the round. It's a pistol for Endpoint. Start off with the T-side.
A start for Thomas too. 4 kills in that pistol. And for Endpoint, I guess you do have to rely on your star players in a matchup like this. We know that Mezzi and Thomas are that dynamic duo. We know that in the recent form, the last month, even stretching it to the last sort of 2, they've done very well. They've been able to perform at a very high level, and you have to look at those 2 guys to really try and get them over the line, really perform. Forceby coming back in, we're going to see a couple of scouts. Crucial getting tagged up heavy to start.
They're seeing the edge of the smoke there for the T-side member. Walking out, damage done by Crucial with that scout. Has seen the likes of Dexter, but Dexter is the man that gets the kill. Continue facing, headshot landed. Crucial, first ban out of the round.
Out to this long position as well. It's very readable here for the Endpoint side. Spirit have already got a couple of players up towards that short position. That scout can play slightly deep or even get boosted up from Mira Elevator.
Nades in, smokes down, suppression involved for the Spirit side as Endpoint do once again go for the Ace Storm. There's a lot of players here for Spirit though. They are so ready to dish out the damage and gain back control of this round. On plant, bit risky for them. Thomas able to deal with the boost up player though, and the player up short also does not swing towards that position. So you're 4-on-4 with smoke on the site, body blocked by the player that's still there. They know that have that information towards them. Actually, Chopper can get the kill for it. Did he jump face or was he boosted? Don't really know, but either way, it won't matter. Facing in further, Chopper actually called off towards the short control, 3-on-3. SDY called back with a scout dropping. Magic's facing in, does get a trade back involved, so there are a couple of decent amounts of damage being done, and the scout in fact takes out Mezzi. Thomas will be held towards the bomb explosion. Magic's great kills for him, but it's not enough to win the defuse, so it won't win the round.
Oh my, geez, he's showing up really early on. Yeah, no kit in that matter. They didn't get those kills in quick enough. AK does get picked up, so at least it's a little bit more of an upgrade. A lot of damage being done. Spirit can actually force again. It is uncharacteristic to see another force on CT side, but knowing that everyone fell, it's an opportunity, and I think they're going to take it.
Yeah. Reset potential against the likes of Endpoint. Like, there's a lot that they can gain out of this if they're able to win the round. Wonderfully done there from the scout in particular. That sequence from from Magic's pretty massive for their own right. Dexter back into the scout here for the Team Spirit side, and he opens up the round by finding Thomas straight to the head. Great kill.
Opening man advantage being gained. Doesn't aggress forward to be able to recover that weapon on from Thomas, so Endpoint start making a little bit of a move in from the mid position, get the molly out towards the doors, try and force back any of the CTs. There is a bait and switch angle going down to the short position, but it could just be mid to B quickly.
Looks like that'll be the case. Smoke's on. Looks like back the nade in for Mir. Trying to do some damage, but receiving nothing at all. SMG burst of SDY. Tags up one. Mir gets 2 kills in with the M4s, and Endpoint capitulate on the B execution. Mezzi will try to recover it, but that's all in vain. Same thing for Crucial. Quadra out for Mir, and Spirit with a steal.
What a force buy, and that just wrecks the economy so hard for Endpoint. Double eco status, they have to force it up. Mir just not even really getting pressured out from that car position. The way that he's looking back and forth from the tunnels, window and door, and just making it look like it's easy.
Again, full reset against the Endpoint camp very early into this matchup. The damage being done so significantly from the previous force up. We'll see the Tech 9s and Deagles coming in for the Endpoint camp, so setting rails the defaults into that mid control and towards the short position. Very passive from the CT side.
Yeah, Endpoint just desperate for an opening man advantage, and even the short commit, they've got no util. They can't flash the scout off angle.
Well, the scout misses shots, and so will the SMG of Chopper. Dexter finally landing some tags, but dealt with by Surreal next up, and it looks like this force invest by still work for Endpoint. 5v3, they got the bomb down.
And they've got a lot of nade damage, but they need a pick, and even Magic's has gone down to 31.
He's coming in close. Surreal evading the kill shots from Mir as his teammates swing back out towards the bomb plant position. Couple of AK frags, 3 AK frags turning back. The Max and Crucial trade to leave it all on SDY to Quadra Clutch. He gets his 3rd kill in, but there's no kick close to it. It's dropped back towards the CT cross. At the bomb once, try force the man forward. Mighty Max going to go for the jump face. Sees his man, takes his shot, knows that he's off the bomb. Tap again, trying to force him forward, and SDY will win that kill, but he will not win the round. He's got to go ahead and fall away, save the AK. More damage done to Endpoint, but they get that 3rd on the board.
Right, well, force again then, I guess, for Spirit. They're in a position where Chopper doesn't have a lot of money. Dexter can actually buy himself an AWP, so they can get a pretty decent force invest out of this one. And we're just going not so much directly back and forth in terms of the rounds, but in terms of the economical reset we are.
There's just constantly the back and forth. It's been pretty comical and consistent, I think, in the course of a lot of the early games we've had so far in the playoffs. Endpoint coming out on top just barely at this moment, but I think a true gun round can come through here. I mean, they've got Galil's out for Endpoint, so it's not ideal, but seeing M4s, AWPs, like Spirit have built up a bit of cash, so they're going to use it.
I guess with the money that was kind of saved in the reserve that they didn't have to buy down completely in the last, it actually does sort of look like a bit of a rifle round. Yeah, there are limitations here or there, but it's a decent buy for both teams. It's the util standpoint and Endpoint that I'm slightly worried about. Thomas really deep, expecting aggression to come out from Longhouse.
Looks like they've got a plan here for Endpoint, and if they're smart, they were watching that last series, looking at that Dust 2 that Falls were able to take so handily above the Spirit side. Let's see how they can replicate performance here and go in with a map victory, and if they can steal this one away from Spirit, oh, what a crutch that would be to take away from them. Set into the defaults. Chopper expecting T-side presence to wrap over from this short presence. Smokes inbound to suppress nades on will do a lot of damage. Oh, that's a chunky one, and the M4 only gets a pick for it.
Dexter's got to focus his attention back up from the A side, but instead, with these flashes coming in, he's just getting forced further and further back.
Another incendiaries under the site itself. Bomb plant should be secured. Crucial and Max burning, and that forces Mezzi to face forward. He gets dealt with. 3v4. Spirit have the man and HP advantage, and the AWP starts looking in with the SMGs as well. They're going to look back to the back lines and over at Gandalf. Crucial going to get caught out in the open. Might have to turn towards one decent frag, but that's as far as it goes for him. Thomas, Galil in hand. If he had an AK, that would have worked, but not to be. Not even the kill on SDY. It's a second round for Spirit.
Well, what impresses me straight away from Spirit in terms of the return from how Tustu was up against Forza is they just look a little bit more confident in taking the duels. I think that there may have been some nerves, or at least they felt really slow to start. At least they're putting in impact pretty much straight away. Endpoint being able to not follow up these rounds means that, again, they're going to be forcing it up, trying to get those buys forward. But when you look at the weaponry up for that City side, you've got the AWP out, you've got AKs, you've got money in the reserve. Things look very promising going into the next round for the Spirit side. Endpoint trying to see if they can find a bit of a chip way in. Not even a MAC-10 or a Galil to work with. It's only pistols.
And once again, these hand cannons and Tech 9s waiting back and hoping for a way in. As you mentioned, the chip way in as opposed to definitively forcing the issue. Maybe they could go for a rush tactic and maybe just try storm the B or the A sites. The short control on the default for now, but see a true commitment here from the Endpoint camp. A minute and 20, early doors, no casualties.
Just making a little bit of noise up to the short position, seeing if they could drive in some early counter utility. But if this walkout comes through towards this mid position, they've got to deal with Chopper first.
M4's ready at the cross. Surreal. Eagle having smoke out. Bomb could almost get caught for it. He's been seen at the very least. That's information in a HE. Baiting a little bit of utility here from the CT side with still no kills, but a lot of damage being done. And Chopper will cross back to try and join his teammates here in the B defense.
Oh, they've got a good read on this one, don't they? 3 on B and Endpoint. They're just going to be running straight to the stack.
Chopper seeing Max taking him down. Reload. It's like a crucial frag. Found the second player. Now 3 remaining here for the Endpoint camp. Burst through, sprays back. 30 seconds. EP going to make their rotations into the H site.
And they are just running out of time. And even when they start moving up to the short position, they're going to run into the AWP.
Dexter has missed a couple of shots to the scout. The AWP also misses more shots back here. Second face. Caught back with a flashbang. The bomb plant can still be secured here by Endpoint. That'll be a bit of extra money. And yeah, they'll look to get it back here. So there's something to work with here for the T-side line. It's still not amazing as the nade finally finds Surreal, but our AWP shots continue to miss out. All left to Mezzi in a 1 versus 5 now. Overwhelmed by Magic's part, so Spirit will be able to get that third round. But hey, Endpoint's knock a bomb plant in. It won't mean a massive amount, however. That was a force play round.
Yeah, they can't really force again, so they'll just have to eco. They know that they didn't do enough damage. If they got a bomb plant and maybe 3 picks or so, hypothetically, they can maybe say to themselves, okay, we can reset the money, let's force. But even with that bomb plant, even with that extra $800, because they did no economical damage in terms of kills, it's not worth it. Spirit just having a very, very good readout towards that B site. And for Dexter, I will kind of say fair play. Like, he was flashed in a lot of those angles, but I guess the real test is going to come through when we see the proper rifle rounds continuing and to see if Dexter can be a little bit more consistent with that AWP.
The Eagles out for the eco round for Endpoint should be relatively easily cleaned up here by Spirit as they look to take the lead back away. Endpoint would have started out, been equalized, but have yet to concede the lead to the Spirit camp so far. And it's wrap up, and Mir will open up against Messi.
Yeah, Endpoint just hoping for anything at this point. Bit of a shoulder bait, bit of a wide swing. Just try and find some connections if they could drop any of the AKs. God, what is going on there? Now the bomb's just been dropped.
Shot on the second player to left. Thomas does find one responsive. The bomb's still in the T side or CT side vision. One player walking out, executed by Magic, shut down immediately. SDY will deal with the last of Surreal. There it is for the board of Spirit. Endpoint. Now got the guns come out.
And we know straight away for Spirit, they've at least had a better run than they did in the last Pinnacle Cup. Again, going down in those semi-finals up to Gambit, going out in 3rd, 4th, giving themselves a grand final placing this time around. And looking to try and see if they could do something with it. Crucial 1 kill so far. Now he's got the AWP in his hands. This is his chance to deliver.
Just forward, Messi out of the gate, spraying through. Magic's nades on. I'm going to do some damage here. He doesn't get a kill for it. The Molotov Chopper can do, though. So They continue aggressing and try to look for Mighty Max. He can drop that bomb at the edge of the smoke. He doesn't see his man. He's just barely covered off, but the Tracers will finally go up the Ghost, and the kill can return. Smokes in, flashes forward from his teammates, fights on the Thomas, and he gets a triple up overall. So a 3 versus 2 situation. Spirit have control, but Endpoint fighting back.
That's just nerves there for Endpoint. They needed to swing so much quicker. There was a great chance when that smoke was going down, and then when that reload came through from Chopper, you've got to instantly swing. You've got to try and catch him off, and instead, it seems like there was hesitation there for Endpoint. They didn't feel comfortable enough swinging that wide out towards a long position, and because of that, it allows a 3-on-2 advantage for Spirit.
Slow rotates in. Smokes on one individual to get towards the cross. Jump right past it, nades on towards Crucial's part. Was going to actually evade there as he falls back towards Carl. Surreal counting on that short presence, trying to force them back a little bit. Incendiary on the bomb site. By a bit of breathing room, but they might have to overextend to get that AWP to drop. Smokes in to buy a bit of cover for the CT side as they peek forward of the position. Surreal's got to go for a safe plant, and that's what he'll do.
Crucial with the AWP needs to be able to find a bit of a response because Surreal's just burning on the site. The enemy P gets a tag in. At least one kill. They've seen me. They've seen the boost.
Nice shots to the big green, so close to landing the elevator boost up. Player jumping over. SDY gets his pick in. Crucial gets it to a 1v1. Going to continue facing and landing the kills to keep Endpoint in at evens 4 apiece.
Well played on that post plant, and you can just see that they're looking for impact. They're not looking to try and just hide and play time. They know in that 2v3 they're desperate for an advantage, and well, that AWP just landed pick after pick. As soon as they saw that boost coming up, they instantly read where the last 2 CTs are.
Great stuff, as you mentioned, for Crucial, needing to hold his own in that back of the site, but Chopper was the man that really forced Endpoint on the back foot in the start of the round. It did look scrappy from his own part, man. Like, there's some serious issues that got to be mopped up for Endpoint. We talked about the consistency in the last couple of days. It's Dexter to open up on Mighty Max down towards mid, so another man advantage to open up the round here for Spirit.
And now they're running the double AWPs, and this is probably something we've been wanting to see a little bit more today, because we saw it yesterday with Dexter not playing, how much of a great AWPer SDY could be. Now picking up the secondary hybrid, this is a chance for him to start really being able to find a little bit more form out towards the B side. For the most part of Endpoint, it's been a lot of takes towards A rather than B.
"60 seconds. It's in the areas to force them back here. Endpoint now doing what Spirit was doing over on the T half of Overpass, only going towards one bomb site. Now falling apart for it. Crucial get a couple of decent trades in, but Magix makes it a triple. Running around this corner, Endpoint giving up every single individual, and now Surreal. What can you do from here?
I think that's the sloppiness you were trying to point out in the last round, wasn't it, Jay? Just tightening up there, just individual duels, no flash, no dual peek, and it just allows an easy triple to come through for Magix. Chopper deals with Crucial dropping down to CT, just hearing that sound cue. Endpoint now in a position. Ooh, they even recover the AWP. Nicely done from SDY.
Chopper threw away the rifle for no reason, though, so there's always that. The awkward in his own part. Oh, see, that's even more to the point right there. Why wouldn't you, like, you know, smoke down a position or flash over the door if you're gonna cross?
Yeah.
Yeah, very sloppy round in general right there from the part of Endpoint. And yeah, Eco setting for the T side. It's not great. That's really not great at all.
And it's normally up against tier 1 competition where you get sort of bombarded for mistakes like dry peaks and not using proper utility. Dexter could just get rushed out from mid. At least he's got mid to peek on the back of him.
Damage done. SMG finds a pick in for the likes of Dexter, actually stolen away from Chopper. Surreal finds one responsive frag, and SDY converts in on towards Surreal. So 3 versus 3, actually, as Mezzi finds a response in with the Eagle. So there are some picks back and forth, but 2 left on Mezzi and Thomas. Mezzi getting caught, tagged up, and dealt with by Magix, leaving Thomas as the last man standing. Glock in hand, switching to a Deagle. Might try and work on something, but you doubt he can do much here.
I've never seen so much fighting out from mid. It seemed like Chopper wanted to go aggressive at short. Everyone in mid doors on the CT side was, yeah, we want to take fights. Just everyone peaked. I guess it does show a fair bit of confidence for Spirit, but at the same time, it may show a little bit of complacency. And rather than just playing out the holds, they're so hungry. Thomas, oh, I don't think he saw the barrel, did he?
Like he did. Yes, now. And that's coming far too late. So 3 kills for Rusty White. 6 forward to the border Spirit. Endpoint still holding at the occasional moment here, but they're not really holding much confidence in the matchup itself. They might have had a bit of a favoritism at the start of the game, but the map winner predictions tracker does kind of favor Spirit at this one, 69 to 31%.
I'm sure that that's going to sort of change as this map goes on, but it does seem like there has been a bit of a shift ever since we went back and forth from breaking each other's economy over to the Spirit side now with the rifles out. Early util out from the long challenge, but for Spirit, they're not really that aggressive about it.
Base in. Endpoint trying to wrap the corner. Molotovs and flashes over towards that guard position to try and gain that long presence. There's only Magics to defend against him here. He's got backup that can rotate, but they think this might all be a ruse. It's not at all. It's 4 players they're going to have to find here with smokes down. Now they know what's going on.
Oh, Thomas could get caught off. Chopper gets aggressive. Really good lurk there for the CT side. Aggressive in the tunnels, and now they can just set themselves up for the retake.
Nades on, Surreal. He's looking with Dexter up. Set into the back here. The bomb trying to get planted. He's got players over at the Gandalf position. They will secure it easy. Magic will get flashed in, seeing where Mighty Max is. And sprays past that smoke to do damage towards the second player as well. Surreal will get a trade in, and Mezzi's on 11 points of health. 4 versus 3. And further flashes coming in from the CT side. When do they start facing? Right about now, it seems. Mezzi gets caught. Spray goes all good for Surreal. It's all left to Crucial to clutch it. Transfers the spray to the second man, but can't quite get the kill on him. And the AWP just rounds the corner with a Deagle in hand. SDY secure the round here for Spirit. It goes 7 up to the CT board.
A Spirit with these reads. I don't know what's changed from the last best of 3 to this one, but it just seems like they're really switched on. The way in which they're even looking for Thomas in those upper tunnels, they have a feeling that he's there, and we know that Thomas is a hard lurk on T side, and even just that one pick, yeah, maybe it doesn't take any pressure away from the site itself, but it just allows you to play the numbers game. It allows you to be quite passive on that 5v4 out from the short position, and even the nade damage. I'm looking at it from Endpoint. I'm thinking, I'm not seeing the molly damage. I'm not seeing the HE damage, where for Spirit, it seems like it's coming every round.
Now, right now, an outclassing coming in from the series favorites. Endpoint. We've got time about this T-side from now. They had such a great start and such great times about turning to even standings, but Spirit, once they got their lead back, they've just run away with it thus far. Can't think of Endpoint posting resistance here in round 12. Just the Eagles again on the half-buy.
Yeah, Endpoint hoping for another one of these short takes and just get a bomb plant. They have been pretty successful with the ecos of at least getting the bomb down, but it's all about the follow-up. They've got 1 smoke and a couple of flashes to work with.
Gone. Made up. Damage. Oh, will be done with Max even tanking the full load of the kill. Up shot. Does get overwhelmed by Crucial, but the bomb is dropped here, and it's on the short stack, so there's no way that they get this round together. Like, even if they can find the bomb somehow, the idea that they get back out towards ramp. They've got an AWP here, and a scout also to play with for Mezzi. Sees that one man. AWP can finish off the job, but Mir can round the corner against both of them and spray together. Get that 8th to the border Spirit. Endpoint. Best they can do is 7 now for the T side, and they have a buyback to try get them there.
And one of the teams that we know in terms of like really high util that we actually saw in the last Pinnacle Cup is Big. That's normally the tier 1 teams that you look at. Spirit, I want to say, is in the conversation, but you never really look at Spirit and go, oh yeah, their utility ADR, the damage they do is insane. You've got to watch their demos. Hey, I'm watching their demos now on after seeing how this has come through.
Endpoint continuing to struggle in this one. Forced off angle in the early duels out towards Longhouse. This time they're going much more careful towards Longhouse control. They were taking it so confidently in previous rounds, but not to be in this one. Molotovs Towards that mid door, trying to force positions away, but again, it's so carefully placed in the early round here for the T's.
And for Spirit, we're seeing that adjustment in terms of aggression. Some rounds it's a little bit more hasty, a little bit more aggressive on the stance, a lot of fights being taken, while others it's back passive, chopper out towards CT, being quite dry in the approach so far.
Smokes up, nades in. A lot of damage done again by these HEs, and the M4 of Mir kicks things off by finding Surreal. Smoke down as Chopper is traded back, and Thomas can follow suit. SDY alone on the B site. He's had many a great clutch with his Deagle instead, which is what he switches to. Shot on the first man. Mighty Max is low, but Mezzi coming in from his back will dish out the 3 versus 2, and the AWP are crucial. Misses out in mid, does recover against Magix, and now Dexter's got to force the save.
That was a lot quicker for Endpoint. It seemed that as soon as they took that contact on the chop up, bang, we go. We just go straight out from the mid doors into the B side, overwhelm the AWPer of SDY. He's so pressured, not sure do you go over to the Deagle? Where do you look in towards the upper tunnels because there's a lurk play coming in, but then there's still so much presence coming out from the window and the doors itself. Really great pace change coming through for Endpoint and for Spirit. They just got rolled over at B. Mir was trying to go back to the car position. He couldn't even get to safety.
Endpoint with a round at last. In a fair while since we've seen one of those from the T-side line, and definitely a good one at that for them to maintain. There was a couple of decent trades involved there for Spirit, and you would have thought that there was potential for SDY to do a little bit more on that side, but because he was so pressured, it wasn't likely. One more back for the Endpoint side as boys continue to look on with intense fear and intense concentration, if you will. A little bit antsy of their own right as they realize that they could still be pushed back on the back foot for round 15. They have to rebuy on a couple of players, so the money's not quite there for them, but the same could also be said for Spirit.
Yeah, there is a bit of an aggressive move coming through from Chopper with the FAMAS. Doesn't have a lot of assistance at all. Dexter is starting to reposition with that AWP to back him up.
Flashes over, Chopper, seeing Surreal tagging him to 19. And the nade will finish off the job towards him. Actually, Mir gets the kill instead. But either way, there's still going to be a frag to open things up here for the Spirit side. Magic's counter utility at the ready. He's got a smoke in hand, ready to throw that up as soon as he sees the incendiary coming forward. Endpoint being careful about this. Smokes to cross instead.
Out to the site. They need to be able to get as much assistance in quickly as possible. Mir just spamming the smoke, the damage onto Mezzi.
Oh, the USP almost gets it as well, but not to be. The M4 of Magic's going to have to finish with the job. They get a 2K, almost 3. Thomas there with a responsive, but that's the first kill that Endpoint have found in this round, and Dexter is quick to shut him down. Crucial. He's got a save here. There's no other choice.
Oh, at least have a bit of a crack at it. Just try and see if you've got a way in, but you're probably right. Even saving, and Chopper's on the other side of Longhouse.
He's ready for this as well. AK leaning up, AWP shot rings out, now they know. Seeing the man, desperate to get the pick, but tagged to 42, incendiary out, he's gonna burn, he's gonna fall. Mind the border, Spirit, and what a hold that was for them.
Yeah, they just look like the much better team, don't they? I know this is their map pick and all, but you could just see it, just the way they're working off one another. And just even that last sort of bait play, Magic's working with this one-way smoke. This never worked against Forza, by the way. They were always spamming it. They were always pre-aiming that angle. Do it up against Endpoint, and no one's even looking at the smoke.
Again, I mentioned that one of the things that Endpoint want to do is to look back at that Dust 2 from the previous semi-final and figure out how they can exploit Team Spirit, because that was a very bad Dust 2 from them. Like you mentioned before, just the contrast as to what Forza were doing. Endpoint just don't have that wherewithal, don't have that research. I know that they weren't sure who they were going to face off against here in this grand final, but even so, challenges are too tough for them at the moment. They have one final execution into the A site to try and end off this T side half. Dexter looking at a gap in the smoke, but Thomas catches him as he's already crossed. So man advantage for Endpoint. The bomb will go down.
Missed timing out from Dexter, double scoping with the AWP. Excellent opening duel out for Thomas, and now they've got a post plant with a man advantage.
Crucial. Not spotting the CT that was up there at the long control. Peeking in towards the CT entrance, and Surreal will get both those players to return back on Crucial's death. So it's a 4 versus 2. Spirit coming in from 2 very different angles. AKs in the hands of both of them. Some die young. Pressing up alongside Magic's caught back by the likes of Thomas. Sprayed through. AK headshots being seen. SDY desperate to burst forward, and Mighty Max gets his kill alongside Thomas to follow suit. Make it a 2K for his own name and a 6th round for Endpoint. So still 3 rounds of difference. Still a pretty close half from them.
Yeah, it is kind of disappointing. They had a 3-1 start, that they only managed another 3, but at least the rounds came towards the back end. They start putting a little bit of momentum up. The worrying sign I look at is, where is Mezzy? 4 kills and 13 deaths. Well, he's up there on screen, by the way. He's normally the guy we always look at. If there's a poor performance, it's like, right, Mezzy's going to be the guy to stand out. If Endpoint are doing a really good job, oh yeah, Mezzy's dropped 30. In this series, when pressure is on the Moj in a grand final to win 80 grand, he's 4 and 13.
It is their opponent's map pick, though. I wonder if there's something more going into the second one. As Thomas that becomes the main central focus of the defensive here with the pistol round alongside Mezzy with the crossfire. They've seen him coming out of the tunnels, and Thomas will be the first casualty of the CT half. Mezzy continuing to face up, Goosh down at 9 points of HP, and Endpoint is just locked out of the sights.
I don't even know if you go for this. Are you really going to win a 4v5 when you've already lost a player? The crossfire's being set. The Glocks have just got so much power.
Dexter, frag on Surreal, 5v3. Mighty Max can come back with one good pick involved. SDY also gets traded, so it's a 3v3 now. Chopper's still known here. Mezzy fighting out against Mir, who's gone very aggressive in towards the CT mid control, and Max swings against him. Meanwhile, Magic's there with the traders. His teammates have fallen. He doesn't know where they're coming in from. Crucial, and Mezzy converging at the right moment, but it's 10 seconds to the defuse. I think they'll just have enough time for that. Endpoint struggling in the pistol, but they do bring it together.
I'm very impressed with the way that they recovered that. Prove me wrong, because it seemed like Spirit had so much in that. The early damage they'd done, the man advantage, and even the way that you've got a player out in T-spawn crossfiring with Dexter in the upper tunnels, but maybe just a little bit too complacent. We saw so many overly aggressive duels being taken. The one specifically outside of the B site into mid was the one I kind of looked at and thought, why are they leaving B?
Mistakes made by Spirit. Honestly, I don't know why that player was so far out towards the mid to B position. That avenue just should have been covered off from the site itself. That could have provided some support for Magic's. Alas, it's still going for Endpoint. All important round to take. Smokes involved as Mir rushes forward with the Galil. And Mighty Max waits for contact. Sees nothing thus far.
Yeah, Endpoint. It's all about the conversion, and we saw how the back and forth nature was out in that first half. This is something that they desperately need to not allow this force buy to be a success for Spirit. It's very silent for the most part. Bit of spam coming through into the mid doors. Mighty Max not connecting onto a bullet just yet.
Spray through on Chopper and gets Magic's as well. Mezzy there with the crossfire dealing with Mir, and this is a confident Endpoint now. Start things off here on the CT half. Dexter will drop the bomb, and SDY a 1 versus 5 known here towards the tunnels. Mezzy's going to wait here to not allow the kill to come in easy. Eventually take that fight with the FAMAS. Burst fire against him. The Galil now will just have his attention drawn as the CTs wrap their way forward. Should be able to deal with the player and get this whole thing together for Endpoint in a flawless fashion. 8th to the board of the CT side, and an eco for Spirit as well.
And they can be very happy with that Endpoint. It was a good bait and switch, the way that Mighty Max isn't really showing his hand at all, even when they're spamming so many times in from the doors. And what I love is how quickly Mezzy just kind of peeks in, right? Mighty Max deals with that first couple of players, and that just pulls the attention away. And then Mezzy just comes in, supports, allows that FAMAS to get the crossfire, moves back out to the B side, and between the two of them, they dealt with the whole team.
Yeah, wonderfully done there. Loving the dynamics of Mezzy's position there towards that mid control. He's not going to be there for this round. He's one of the 3 players that looks for the long control. He'll eventually dismantle that, go back towards their standards. One player on the short position is Surreal, looking down towards that mid angle. Spirit only have the upgrade pistols for this round. No Kevlar, no util. Maybe some picks, but you still have a round if they get it.
Yeah, you can't expect a massive amount, and especially if Endpoint play passive. Maybe there's a bomb plan in for the short position, but that's got to be it.
And 4 looking on, sees one player, gets the headshot. Chopper can't turn it back around, though. They have access to the site. Incendiary will come through for Surreal. That should be able to deny the bomb plant for the time being. The nade even sails over and does even more damage Demir and Co. force them back for the moment, force a bit of time as well for the CTs to rotate, but the bomb will go down, so there's money for Spirit to work with now.
A lot of respect being given up, rather than Endpoint just trying to get up there and get into the face of their opposition. They allow that bomb to get planted.
Flashes forward, Max gets another kill. Follow suit from Thomas and Mighty Max, there you go. Easy clean up. Easy enough round here for Endpoint. Damage has been done, however, so there's not the best of situations for them, but... bomb plant, that's what Spirit were looking for. The buy will look fantastic for them, so we'll be seeing the full set of guns coming out, including AWPs for the T side.
Yeah, Spirit off to a bit of a slow start in the second half and tied up scoreline. When you think about how strong Spirit were in the second half, or the first half, at least when the rifle round started coming through, this is an impressive result, at least so far for Endpoint, but they've got to be able to try and see if they can just bring it a little bit further forward. Going into the opening rifle round, this is where things get a little bit more interesting to sort of see how Spirit play it out. Could be faster to be.
There's an incendiaries will suppress, and they will not do much damage here towards the tunnels position. They're very far deep into the tunnels themselves here for Spirit, so Endpoint just with their flashes, their molotovs, have they got a smoke on that site? I imagine they should do, but they're going to walk ahead of it before they even get the chance to utilize. Mighty Max back at car, turning away from the flashbangs. M4 wins the fight against the bomb carrier. The Galil trying to make his way up alongside crucial support with the AWP. Max got 2 frags, and the crossfire again for Endpoint has done wonders for them. The T's are backing up, but they've left the bomb in the site. This is a save call here.
It has to be. What a lockout defense. How quickly Crucial was able to get in terms of a rotating position out from those B doors. But Mighty Max and Mezzy, the 2 players at B, they've found a lot of success in this second half together.
That was so well done. And the fact that Spirit are throwing in the towel in this round so early into the round, the minute marker hadn't even ticked by when they were making their way away. So Chopper and Dexter really losing all manners of control. And again, Crucial and Mighty Max, the 2 elements of that round, didn't even need that Galil there on the back of the site. Getting 3 AKs as well. Tons of firepower for Endpoint going forward.
Well, it was all the distraction, wasn't it? We didn't see any entry kills coming through for Spirit. And just the way that Messi is just pulling that attention over to Car allows Mighty Max at the back of the side to get involved with a tidy double. Crucial then sort of drops that bomb, and Spirit just go, yeah, 2v5, it's not worth it, let's get out of here. And now you start sort of thinking back to Dust 2 a little bit earlier in the day. Doesn't even feel like it was that much earlier. And you think to yourself, well, how's a map that is so dominant, one of the best teams in Dust 2 in the world right now, having a struggle against Forza and now having a struggle against Endpoint?
We'll draw parallels to that Forza series. It was the CT half where Forza went 10-0 up.
Yeah.
Now, we haven't seen a single round 1 here by Spirit thus far, so maybe there are a few things the Endpoint are picking up in the first half, or from that first half, I should say, and applying it to the second. And well done there for Mighty Max to hold his own. He really was the main element for me in that round. Flashes in for Chopper to try to get the frags out. Naded to position here in the longhouse. 50 points of HP for him, and they're going to go faster towards the B control here. Outside of the B doors, no CTs there to challenge.
And they've got a really good timing, and CT is completely opened up. There is going to be a rotation looking to come through from Surreal, but it just opts against it. So in terms of the B players, they are not going to get support for ages.
I think you siphoned off here for the Spirit side, so it might just be just left towards them, just on their whole. Just Mezzy and Mighty Max with the AKs. Smokes down to the CT spawn, so now they know it's a mid to B play. Mighty Max going to wait there with a smoke, try to put it up at the tunnels, get to the boost spot. Making no noise about this, and Mezzy gonna play around and smoke at the B doors, but can't see anything of the T side.
And they're waiting for a mistake. They're waiting for an overextension, cutting off one of the rotators towards CT. Anything at this point, Spirit.
Mezzy might be the man to give it up. Sees Magic. Magic saw him as well. Flashbang around. That's a fantastic play. Mighty Max there to support Mezzy to shine. He opens up in this round. Can he see any more back to the back lines? Well, Mighty Max still on the boost spot. Gets his kill involved, trying to fall off a position. Surreal gets a kill on Mir, and Mezzy swings and hits. Catching Dexter's head like a baseball, and Chopper is out of there again. Spirit. This is a force to be reckoned with from Endpoint, and it just exploded here at the start of the second half.
What a turnaround from their T side to their City side. They've been putting some hard work into some of their holds, some of their protocols. I love the sense that even though they don't have a CT player, they're not getting flustered, are they? They're not just diving through that CT smoke from one of the A players of a Surreal or a Crucial, just saying, oh, I've got to get over, I've got to go and help my B players out. No, it looks really calm in the matter. And even the way in which Money Max sort of flashes over high allows Messi to take that swing onto the window player. And it seemed like Spirit were waiting for the mistake, but instead of a mistake, Endpoint just had a right call.
From 9-6 down to 9-11 in the lead, the map winner prediction tracker has suddenly swung to the favor of Endpoint. Having been with Spirit for the majority of the game thus far, going even further in their favor as well. You just saw it shift as it's faded away. Orb set in against the pistol play here, Spirit. Hero AK in this round. They'll try and look to pick it apart first and foremost. They already tagged up SDY with a Orb leg shot. Spirit start walking up to short control.
A bit of aggression coming through for the double AKs. All just comes down to a matter of timing. Thomas committing to the spray. So much information being given up, but Mir opens up.
Smoke down to suppress them. They can't recover that rifle. AK and Mighty Max. Even from this cubby corner, they utilised this position so well last time. They're not going to bottleneck here. Spirit is still on shore.
Yeah, Surreal's got to be careful he doesn't get overwhelmed. Good timing on that resmoke. Just going to waste further time. Surreal even peeks out before that smoke blooms.
Too much, too aggressive. No need to do that. Should have just waited. There's a 5 versus 3 now for these pistols in play. I mean, they're currently waiting for the rotations on SDY's part, expecting someone to come in from the B side or press through mid. Crucial. Here's Orc ready for the run boost, and he sees that player coming out. Peeks in again, lands a tag, lands a kill. Can't deal with Dexter right around the corner, so it's the AKs of Mezzi and Max. Again, this dynamic duo trying to work into the ace site, but they just can't seem to do it. And Mir can double up for a triple overall and get Spirit there first at the T side.
And that timing was way off for Endpoint. First off, that smoke, that resmoke at short has got to come down a fraction of a second earlier. And even maybe for Surreal, maybe he thinks to himself, I kind of have to peek because I know the smoke is blooming before the other one goes down. But that slight timing allowed Spirit to gain a 5-on-3. The run boost comes out. The AWP is alone on the A site. It's really easy to overwhelm an AWPer. Only let him get away with one. And for Spirit, they steal that round.
Lashes in the position. Forcing T-side players away from this tunnel's entrance. Spirit are again full send into the long control. They're already out of the house. The CT so passive, not extending forward towards mid control. They'll wait behind Xbox. That's as aggressive as they're going to get.
It is gathering some information, or at least it will do if they do make any more of a overly aggressive play. Even the AWPs, they're not really looking in towards this long position at all.
AWP. Doing something on the part of Crucial. Molotovs will come into car, flash it in, shot missed out. Counter flash back. AWP not seeing that player behind big box. Will there be a second face for Crucial? Yes, there will, but he will not catch the shot for it. He will not catch the kill. Nades on, Incendiary's out, 40 seconds, and Spirit are going to commit as Thomas lines up that first kill, tags up Magic's as well.
Thomas just trying to continue spamming through. HE out towards Magic. That does further damage, and it's just buying time for the CTs to get into position.
Pressure involved. Crucial waiting for his moment, but no, SDY read that one way, and the M4 swings back, but Thomas only gets that one frag. The trades continue to go to evens, 3v3. That bomb yet to commit, 15 seconds, it will go down behind default. That's the perfect chance. They'll swing out, but still the kills come in for Mezzi and Surreal, and it's SDY to clutch it in 1v3. One kill isolated, no more than that. Mighty Max holds it together for Endpoint as they get right back on track here on the CT side.
And that was probably one of the first times we've seen from Endpoint a true teamwork round. The way in which they're using the util, the way that they're working off one another. At times, it's normally been like the anchors together. That was the whole team. The way that Thomas starts off with that damage coming through. AWP just tries to fall further and further back. Nades up and towards the site. Great retake in from Endpoint. Spirit only gaining 1 round on T-side on their map pick. That has been it so far.
Endpoint still doing so much to hold their own here against Spirit, and Spirit making little mistakes here and there now across the board, not just in terms of the executions, but even that missed smoke, for example, body blocked by their own teammate. Resmoke back by Endpoint at the very least will keep it suppressed, but they've got to concede long control. They've got to work into tunnels instead.
Messi with this AWP just deciding to fall back, give himself a little bit more of a tighter angle rather than being wide and exposed. Spirit, they've been very silent on these defaults. Crucial has never really been aggressive around this short position, always being sort of back-footed.
Molotov keeping Crucial from seeing anything, can't really push forward either. It's there to drive the players off the boost spot, but Dexter set with the AWP. Who's going to blink first? It's going to be him! Crucial somehow finding that frag, has no right to win that. And Endpoint, man advantage, 40 seconds. Mezzi seeing the flick back, catching SDY. As Mir falls the same, it's all falling apart for Spirit again. Oh, disaster for the T's. 30 seconds, they found a kill. Can they recover this?
Thomas getting caught off out from that longhouse on the big wrap, but you've got to think for Spirit, unless they get a kill instantly, they probably just have to save onto their weapons. Buddy, Max does get caught off. Messi towards the back of the site with the AWP does hold, sees that last player at Chopper, just needs to waste time, wait for those rotations to come in, flash over the top,
Perfect.
And Messi follows up. Great utility usage therein by Endpoint. And I look at that whole situation and think to myself, how in the hell did Crucial win that fight onto Dexter? Dexter was posted on the angle.
Oh, this is a scary Endpoint, Josh. This is a really scary Endpoint. Conceding 1 round in this half. Perfect chances to take the faces, and even Nezzy with the AWP, his frags found. And I love this little bit here. He waited for so long for Surreal to flash him in to get the kill on Chopper. Now he's set with the AWP towards mid-control against another half-buy for Spirit.
That's looking tidy from Endpoint, and that's what we want to see from them in the second half, making sure that they're making the right timings, they're using their util well, and certainly in terms of the HE damage, hasn't quite been the same, but in terms of the flash assist, it's been excellent. Another split play into the B side could be on the cards for Spirit.
Smokes down at the cross and the corner. Trying to keep these CTs at bay. Again, it will siphon off the B-site players, however, from backup and rotations. Make their way in. Surreal's going to hear it. Can he look above that smoke? He will look down towards the ramp. Sneak past in the midst of the smoke, though. They're not going to give away any information. It slow walks out. M4 sees what's going on, and Max and Surreal still hold it together. And everyone falls for Spirit. How quickly done was that? 14-10, Endpoint 2 away from Dust 2's win.
And always when you get into a high-pressure match, when you're in a grand final and you're the underdog, you always look to your in-game leader to really, provide some wisdom. Have the right calls, have the right mentality. Imagine looking at your in-game leader and realizing he's the top fragger. Not only has Mighty Max been able to provide some perfect mid-round calls and called a very good game so far, but he's also really showing up in the fragging department.
So got to wonder about preparation as well. Again, they have been able to exploit the same problems that Forza did. This keeps up. Alan Hender maybe in with a job. 14-10. Endpoint. In such a good position right here. In such great amount of potential to steal this away from Spirit. And who would have thought that twice in the same day Spirit would lose their best map in the pool? That's a very big possibility right here.
Yeah, you're right. You really are. It's something you have to consider, and no one would have seen that coming. Absolutely no one.
No.
Endpoint giving a lot of respect into this rifle round in round 25. No aggressive moves up from the short position. B players haven't been able to clear out the upper tunnels. Instead, they've just left Crucial passive out to the car position. Spirit looking to regroup. They could potentially have a fake towards short and regroup out mid to B, but it all just comes down to the time. 45 seconds.
Smoke's on. Incendiary's back to suppress it. Nades in from Mighty Max. Placed really well. And now they're getting the same nade placement that Spirit did on their CT side. Molotov's out. Crucial set with the AWP at the edge of the smoke. He's waiting for the best angle. And the flashbang will blind him. He still gets the kill on Magix. Mighty Max going to wait for his chance to boost up Elevator. He needs a teammate to do any sort of damage in that one, though. So he'll just wait for them. They'll concede the bomb plant at least.
And they're waiting for a fight. They're waiting for an overextension for the T side. Spirit know they're in a 4v5. They've got to win some of these duels.
Point leading, nades up. Damage done to Dexter and Mir sprays back, and there comes 2 kills to the T side now. Back to the man advantage. Crucial trying to hold on to it, but Mighty Max falls in turn. Crucial seeing players out towards short, taking some damage for it. Leans up, sees the AWPer. Back to evens we go, but time is ticking away for Endpoint. He rounds the corner, sees the player in short. Does not catch on to Mir though, and that's going to be enough. Oh, if only he continued the spray. Not to be today. 11 to the border, Spirit.
That is a well-played post-plant out from Spirit. They did not have a lot going for them. They were down in a 4v5. They didn't have util. It was just some of the peaks out towards CT. And then once they feel like they've got a bit of an in on the site and a bit of an in on the round, notice how they just stop fighting. They just start hiding. Mir just hiding down at the box itself, not really giving up a fight. Surreal just trying to see if he could follow up. Mir only peeking out when it's absolutely necessary. Spirit, that gets him up to 11.
Perfect timing from Mir. Spirit did lose all 5 players in that round. They're down to Galil's and they're down to the set piece towards B side. Fast rush in. M4's about to hold it off. Mighty Max holding back for utility. Mezzi going to hold his own back towards Kara. At least he tries to, but Mir and Magix fighting the magic and they instantly overwhelm the B site. Save called in for Endpoint. And it finally feels like the Russians have found the rhythm.
Yeah, they have great entries out to that B site. You can see Endpoint, they were caught with nades out. They just weren't ready to be overwhelmed as easily as they did. And here's a conversation starter, Jay. We have noticed so many times, even today, up against Sinners, how Endpoint are one of these teams that can struggle to close. They had a great opportunity of getting a 2-0, and it even went to that third map. You almost wondered to yourself, with a 14-10 lead, are we going to see the Endpoint that struggles to close?
We've seen that many times over the course of this matchup. They won't quite get to map point just yet, so they play it on at 14-12, 2 rounds of difference, and the Endpoint that struggles to close usually struggles to close from like a 14-6 or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Is that same phenomenon going to come to effect in this game? It's probably something bearing down on the minds of those guys. You can see that they have a little bit of tense looks in their eyes. Spirit, all-important survival for them. The AKs, the M4. Fall by back in for Endpoint. Of course, they've got a lot of cash, but if they lose this round, they're going to be reset.
A bit of a walk play out from the mid doors for Spirit. Oh, do they just catch the timing? Do they just walk through? There's no mid player for Endpoint at all in round 27.
They've left this very, very open. I think Spirit is starting to cotton onto that. AWP of Crucial, though. So close to finding a pixel on somebody back there towards the mid position, but nades on Incendiaries instead. That'll do some damage. Won't be a kill, but it will start off the round at least.
And they've left Long very exposed as well with that aggressive taken towards that short position. Put those nades down out to the Xbox angle. Spirit have not given up much information at all. Start regrouping up to the short position. And for Endpoint, they're now retaking Long, but they're going to realize pretty quickly, no one's here.
Leave a player at pit. Leave the AWP to hold short. At the cross corner. A backup and Mighty Max as well to come in from the CT spawn. They've left Crucial. Oh, sorry, Mezzi, excuse me, and Surreal. Set towards that B site. Almost hoping for something to come here towards the house. 40 seconds to the clock.
Time is running low, and so is utility. There is not a lot for Endpoint to work with, and they might even just get faked out towards a short position.
Here they come, Thomas awkward duel, smoke back involved, AWP looks around the corner, great shot on the first man, chopper dealt with by Thomas, big sequence, now they can turn their attention to the site itself, it's been taken, the bomb plant will go down, Endpoint are on for the retake.
Oh, Marty Max just pushing through the short smoke, gets away with one. AWP finds involvement too, and now it all just comes down to at least Magix dropping it towards CT. It doesn't happen at all. The bomb gets denied from going down because of one hell of a swing for Marty Max. He was sure that he did not want that bomb to get planted.
And that ultimately did everything for them, such low on the timer. And now Endpoint are on map point, on Dust 2, on Spirit's pick. For the second time today, Spirit are down ahead of losing their best in the pool. Endpoint with such unorthodox strategy. I didn't see Mighty Max swinging all the way back out towards short. Neither did they. Couldn't have seen it coming, and that wherewithal could be all for Endpoint at this stage. Default set in, 2 players on long, 1 player short, 1 player mid, 1 player B. They wait patiently for Spirit strike.
Well, why would you see it coming? It's a 5-on-3. The CTs normally just play the numbers, don't they? Just set themselves up for the retake. Spirit, they're setting themselves up for the execution. Better counter utility coming through for Mezzi, but they're going to get tested again at B.
Incendiary, to see the smokes coming down. A secondary incendiary as well. It's going to burn them pretty significantly, but Mezzi still lines up the 2K. Flash bangs in. The T's are going to catch each other blind as well. My Man's going to get the trades involved, but they're so far out in the open. Chopper trays the man. Him and Dexter down by a player. Endpoint locked out of the site. They'll be on for the retake here.
Just look at a reposition. How many players go back in towards the upper tunnels? It looks like all of them are actually going to do so. They've only got a smoke and a HE to work with.
And no one is thinking about this for Spirit. I think Chopper's starting to adjust against it. They're actually going to lean out towards mid-control, and now they know what's going on. Molotovs, both players set and ready. Smoke down to the B doors just in case. And here they come. Smokes involved, flashes forward. Thomas caught first and foremost. Dexter sees the second man out of the gate with AWP, but so close to Surreal. Surreal gets the spray in and wraps the corner to get the kill, get the kit, and get the defuse for Endpoint to take it at 16-12. Another steal of Spirit's best map in the pool. And I never, ever saw that coming, even with the semi-finals involved. But Endpoint are not out of the woods yet. It's the punished pick of Inferno after the break. Well, Spirit would typically be considered in deep trouble losing their own map pick of Dust 2, but much like they had an opportunity against Forza, they have an opportunity now against Endpoint to turn the tides back in their favor. It is a punish pick for Endpoint. Not a great map for them, not a great map for Spirit either. At least Spirit have the benefit of playing tougher opposition here on this map up, so can they turn it around, Blake?
It's going to be difficult. Spirit really need to dig deep if they want to be able to take this to map 3. This is Endpoints to win. And even on this setup in the pistol, it seems it's a very, very heavy A lean out from Endpoint. There's only one on B, and for Spirit, this could be just a straight commitment into the B side.
Mighty Max seen first into the CT cross position. He will back off immediately. He's got no Kevlar, 1 smoke, and 1 kit. He's got a full set of util on Mezzi over towards the A stack. He's going to have to start rotating relatively soon because, well, here they come. Straight into the B play, and they will actually wrap their way back into the bat lines, go towards the backstab. Mighty Max will tap his bullets forward and try and indicate that he is backed up there. Now Chopper sees what's going on. The 4-man stack in towards Banana.
And they've got a lot of nades to work with, but 2 players on this T side looking to take immediate duels, lose their fights instantly.
Great kills on Dexter and Chopper, 5 versus 3. Mir's going to back away alongside Magic's into the church position. Jump around the corner, deal with Mighty Max, and now got to focus entirely on this Banana Force. Mir and Magic holding the crossfire, and everyone's falling apart here for the CT side. 2 versus 2, making it 1. Thomas desperate to get a pick in, and SDY bails out his teammate. Mir on 1 HP, jumping around and just keeping himself in play.
A beautiful recovery for Spirit. They lose the opening contact out from that top of Banana position just to the straight aggression from the CT side. They're down in a 3-on-5, and Mir just makes the play, just getting aggressive out from construction, taking the fight onto CT, taking the fight onto the Banana players, just pushing through that smoke from Mighty Max.
So quickly dismantled there by the Spirit side. Oh, man, that's such a great start as well for the likes of Endpoint. Those 2 kills on the backstab. Immediately back in play for Spirit to get an all-important pistol. They'll set themselves up to try take glory here on this map. T-side will be the one to watch for Spirit. That might be where they can win and lose this.
It could be. Try and put those early rounds up, put the pressure in, try and get the economy rolling. Endpoint back in with the force of not really taking many aggressive duels. Surreal just a couple of jiggle peeks out for the apartments, getting at least a tag in towards Magic's early on. Going back, not taking any himself.
Nades on as Mir. It's around the corner. Smoke's involved on the part of Endpoint. Pressing them back here towards Banana position. Waiting for someone to over-aggress.
Yeah, Mighty Max actually not investing into Body Kevlar going into round 2. Just trying to see if he can have a little bit more of a stronger economy line in line with Crucial in particular. A Spirit running the clock relatively low. Seem like they want to start regrouping in towards this bracket stake.
Crucial watching the first contact with the Eagle, falls back out to the passive long position at Moto. Down at Arch and eventually goes out towards the Moto position, actually blocking off Library. 2 Deagles set to the crossfire. What can they do with this? 1 player up in the apartments. Magix has utility in hand. Deagle wraps the corner, gets the kill against him, and now turns back in. His Chopper gets tagged up pretty heavily. Damage done to Thomas and Surreal in this one, but Mezzi and Crucial still get no kills. Oh, the headshots all lining up, and Crucial makes it a triple for another steal for Endpoint. What a hell of a response.
Are we even surprised at this point? Because we've seen so many of these kind of rounds over the course of the day. Just the anti-force buys just wrecking house. What a crossfire being set. I love the way that Surreal takes the fight to himself, sees that molly going out towards Pit, aggresses out from the balcony position, deals with Magix, and then that all just sets up the crossfire on that short position itself. So many CTs zoning in on that angle, and for Spirit, really struggle with the trading game.
Force back immediately from the T side. I think all 5 players stayed alive in that for Endpoint, by the way. No trades at all. Not a great follow-up off the back of that pistol. At least it's early doors in this matchup, and it doesn't mean anything that might win or lose the matchup, at least not as of right now. But even so, Spirit, we're going to be feeling sour off the back of that.
Starting to see a slight rotation from Mighty Max coming through from CT, but Spirit making a bit of an indication. Crucial. Oh, he's going to get caught off guard. That's a weapon that can get picked up.
Crucial to fall to Magix's hand. We'll go ahead and grab that Galil. It's only a Galil, however, to work with for the T-side line. Hero up for Mir. Endpoint want to press the issue here. They want to continue fighting. Rotations out towards the apartments, though, so no real angles for them to work with.
Chopper's got an incendiary, so if that goes down from Pit, that can actually force Surreal out in the open.
Got a smoke already. That nade can be perfectly positioned. We'll do a little bit of damage to players in the back, and indeed the crossfire will hold itself together for the CT side for the most part, but Spirit again overwhelming with that Galil in play for Mir, especially 3 kills to his name, and now Mezzi's got a save.
He looks hot in these early stages of Inferno, and he's a guy that if he's on, he can just win a game by himself, win a map by himself, and we saw it in the pistol. We've now seen it in round 3. Endpoint just lost a little bit too much in the early portion of that round, losing Crucial out from that long position, really sort of allowed that rifle to get picked up from Mir, continued doing damage. Even Mighty Max looking up towards a balcony position, he's got a nade out in his hand.
Yeah, caught off guard. Well, flat-footed, called out of this round against Spirit. Hold the lead above Endpoint. Imagine there probably should be a force buy around this SMG with the loss bonus being where it is right now for the CT side. Spirit. All important stuff going in for them at this stage. And again, to recover off the back of that blunder in the second. Keyless Galil's buy some AKs.
At least the force buy looks decent, because you mentioned that anti-eco round they won, or when they forced up themselves, everyone survived. So even in 1900 loss bonus, the situation where they are here, they didn't need to force. They could have got a rifle round out into round 5, but you don't want to step back. You want to keep putting the pressure on. You want to try and see if you can reset your opposition and just continue going back and forth until one of these teams converts a couple in a row. Great nade down towards bottom of Banana to start the round off.
Damage down onto SDY and Mir. Mentioned Mir being a very hot player for Spirit at this moment. Smokes in, Deagle's out, facing Wessim. Mighty Max caught by the flashbang though, and Dexter gets credited with the assists. Mir with the kill. Mezzi held back at first box. Detected by the MAC-10. No, he's not. He's going to wait in the midst of it. Eventually get overwhelmed and surrounded by the T-side players. Crucial get a couple of kills involved in this one. Magic trades it back here. But still the MP9's around the corner. Now MAC-10's out in play. AK in for the likes of Dexter, and Mir can strike back towards construction. And Spirit will just hold their third. What felt like a decent position, however, for Endpoint to win off the back of that. Unable to do so. It's now an eco.
And that flash just popped just in the right moment, didn't it? It really seemed like Mighty Max was going to be able to follow up with a couple of kills. They try to wrap in towards CT, and that's a nice sort of deviation with the B-side. Actually have the deep CT smoke, wrap in construction, allow that utility to come in over the top, get those flashes just pinned. Endpoint just cannot fight back. Spirit putting on some early rounds here on their opposition's map pick.
Now looking to extend to a 4-1 lead above Endpoint. The USP's out in force here for the CT side. 4 players stacked in at the brackets crossfire. Flashes over. They'll face in. MAC-10 does get his first kill involved, and a flashbang give him at base. So stopping anything from Endpoint to be able to do some damage. They'll stop around that corner. Chopper gets another good kill alongside Dexter as well. Dexter doubles up. And yeah, Mighty Max all alone.
And we know that for Spirit, they haven't had the cleanest of times in the Pinnacle Cup so far. They had a pretty good result yesterday in that quarterfinal game up against Fiend. But even in the series today, they lost their map pick up against Forza, fought back in the series to make it into the grand finals. So it is definitely something to consider, even going in towards Inferno, even a map where it is a punish pick coming through from Endpoint. It's a weak map of the pool for Spirit. They've done it once today already.
Now looking forward to potentially having this 2-0 for the Endpoint camp again. That's what they're really hunting for at this moment. The massive steal from Dust 2 and punish them here on the likes of Inferno. Again, still not the best map for my money, but not really many better options for them. Rebuy involved for Endpoint. The FAMAS out for Mezzi. Ops, M4s across the rest of the board. MAC-10 still in for Magics, and that could still be useful. There's 4 players without helmets.
It could just be an apps pop coming through from Spirit. Have something quite quick, something just in the face of their opposition. And honestly, for Endpoint, without a pit or a Moto player, they could get overwhelmed quite quickly against the pop.
Slow walking into the apartments. 2 players charge out with the MAC-10. It's crucial that lands that first kill. No one's in pit, so it'd just be the first frag down towards the mid control. Thomas turning away from that flashbang, looking out to position. Surreal. The crossfire held together will force that player out of quad itself. He gets a smoke down instead to maintain his position. But out in the apartments, Dexter still waits for his chance to strike. And indeed, he does catch a trade, suppressing for the site for the moment. But the bomb should cross back here. And Thomas, seen at the edge of that smoke, gets traded to a 3-on-3.
A perfect opportunity of getting that bomb down. Nade out to the pit position. They are slowing this whole round down. SDY's the one with the bomb.
Nades to him as well. 10 points of health. Forty seconds. The CTs wait. Hold for position. Crucial. Wrap over and keep his eyes on. Bomb plant will be secured, so retake time. Nades up close. Still can't land to Magics. SDY still in the back of the site, though. It's Dexter. That might be important. He gets overwhelmed. Such low HP for these 2 teams. The FAMAS can easily deal with them. The AWP maybe less so, but finally they've seen SDY and Magics here with a MAC-10. Can't hold off against the Mezzi with a triple. And Endpoint with the second.
And they would have been sweating it there because they had a perfect start to that round. We saw the ult pick coming through from Crucial. Then Surreal up towards the top of Quad was able to get it into a 5 versus 3. Spirit just slowed that whole round down, bait in some over-aggressive peaks from the CT side. But the retake comes through. That gets Endpoint up to 2. Money, though, for the D side, it's still so rock solid.
Yeah. A lot of cash to rebuy into this one, so that's exactly what they'll do here for the Spirit side. All the guns out. I don't think there's any limitations to that either. Endpoint, of course, you still have an SMG involved for Thomas, so there's always that little factor to work with. Team Spirit. Nades to their position. Near tagged up early again by the early util down Banana.
Now, there is an aggressive AWP play coming through from Crucial in and around that boiler position. All just comes down to a matter of timing. How much confidence does he have to swing out wide? Well, there is a player on the other side of it. AWP just misses the timing onto Magix.
He faces to almost line them up. Only lands the leg shot on Chopper. Thrown off by inaccuracy. Minute and 10 with smokes down as well to suppress here at this Banana control. Mighty Max get out of dodge. I think he wants to wait around here. Spirit might not be pressing this anyway.
And they're ready for an over-aggressive Banana take. They're ready for the CTs to start pressing forward. But for the most part of Endpoint, they're giving a lot of discipline. Even though they know that they've done some early damage with the nades and even with that AWP tag, they're not pressing the issue aggressively.
Smokes coming in to siphon off that long control. Crucial still watching with the AWP. Getting real close towards that boiler position. Sees Chopper finally gets that kill as the SMG pushes up mid. These two players on the vertical crossfire for Mezzi and Max. Kill on the first man. Someone's got to dismantle it because it could be traded. And indeed, they'll attempt to do so, but the AK forces forward first. And the SMG of Thomas comes in at the back lines at the right moment. Gets 2 frags for his name. Gets an AK as well for a third for Endpoint.
That's an excellent read. As soon as that AWP picks come into Boiler, look at what Thomas does in that situation. He slow walks aggressive, clears out that mid position, and that gives the indication to the B players, hold, you're going to be on for something here. If you waste time, if you hold a crossfire, I'll be able to get the backstab in. And with Mezzi and Mighty Max just trying to hold the 2 out from the sandbags, Thomas in the backlines, he gets 2 with the MP9, even at that long range, because they never expect it.
Hop in. Get baited out by the jump facing of the pistols. Flash over, perhaps. No smoke instead actually coming through, but either way, it will force the man back, and that's what Spirit really wanted to do.
Yeah, Crucial is one of those guys, especially on Inferno, that does have a lot of versatility, can go aggressive, can go passive, and just be everywhere on the maps and wait out for him sort of rotating in between that B and A side, always trying to see if he can find one of those opening AWP picks. A Spirit on the force up. You really got to rely on the pistols to kind of bait in the AKs, right? Just try and set the AKs up for as much damage as possible.
These 3 players are going to be imperative to Spirit's around here, and they're walking into the brackets phase. Crucial still has his AWP bit further back, but still watching position. He's thinking about Chopper here. Sees him as the smoke clears up and gets that kill. At the perfect timing. Still only a Deagle down. Still 3 AKs in play, and Magic's next to face it. Have the other Deagle out. Crucial can deal with both those players and leave it all in SDY, Dexter and Mir. 30 seconds for the hit here for Spirit.
Flash over the top doesn't blind him at all. Easy shot coming through for the AWP, but the confidence to peek back into it does get punished by Mir.
2 for 1 of the trade counts, and now he holds out the archers. 2 players on the A side defensive. Surreal back at pit, facing in. Mir gonna get catching that player off guard, but Surreal still lands the kill. Thomas overwhelmed back on the site itself. 8 seconds to plant the bomb though, and Dexter will just overwhelm, get it to a 2v2, and secure the plant on default.
Rotation's coming really quickly out. The fight's trying to be taken. Messi's now the last one left in the clutch situation. Out on the site itself, SDY is going to peek out and win the clutch up for Spirit. What a recovery in a round on the force. They lose a couple of early picks out from long, but as soon as Mir trades out that AWPer, it seems like everything starts going their way.
So close as well on that play. So down to the wire for them to hold on towards it. Mezzi in that 1v1. That's a great start from Crucial as well, with the perfect timing on the perfect shots. Maybe if he had fallen back, that would have been a different story. Maybe they would have held it together. Now they're thinking about those what-ifs, because I think that 1 kill may have made enough of a difference there for Spirit. And now Endpoint, they're down to their own reset. They've still got money in the bank, but they want to go for a full buy, not just a half invest.
100%. I'm with you there. 5-on-3 advantage with 2 players on A. You did not need to reface at all, but it's in the moment, isn't it, where you think that you're just going to follow up and have a bit of a sequence. Instead, it goes the other way, and now it sets Spirit up to go 6-3.
Lashes over towards that short control, fast out for the MAC-10s. What can these pistols do with it? They'll try and take a fight in, and Crucial Mezzi will get overwhelmed. Surreal, the same thing, and that's just A-site taken immediately. Can't be too shocked to MAC-10s. Getting some money together, and really, that's the best thing for Spirit. Endpoint just got to take it on the chin. Look towards the guns.
It's been a little bit of a slow start for Endpoint out here on Inferno, and I guess sort of touching a little bit more on this punish pick. We know that for Spirit, they've won it 3 times out of their last 12, and for Endpoint, they've had some decent streaks on it. They just came off the back of winning 6 maps in a row. But then when you start diving a little bit deeper into maybe some of the competition they've been playing, it's teams like Azarko Boars and Young Ninjas and Movistar Riders, Sangul, Sharks, all into the mix. Not really those tier 2 teams that we talk about, Jay, in the upper echelons.
Yeah, the caliber is just so different. So different for them. In that respect, it's still a risky pick, of course, for the Endpoint side, knowing that they've got such great competition in the history of the opposing side. Buyback here for this next round is going to be the attention turned towards. There's still other FAMAS on 2 players in Mezzi and Surreal, so it's not an ideal buy. That makes the eco seem a little bit more... I don't know, justifiable, but it's a little bit more sensible, I think, in their own right. Crucial. Firing down range, hoping to catch Chopper because he's 5-0 in duels against the man, but he catches nades instead. 44 and 28 for him and Mighty Max. Now the B players turn towards A.
Jeez, they're taking so much damage, Endpoint. Cyril up from Keo does get away with the first, needs to drop down and get to safety, has to take another fight, and now the overpush comes in.
M4 trying to hold back here for Thomas. Third face gets a kill alongside Crucial Zorp in the back lines. And Spirit round at the corner, again falling apart. Mir's going to try to recover this, but only gets that one frag. Thomas, the 17, stays in play, grabs the AWP as well. And it will be another round for Endpoint, but it's all just rounds to catch up to Spirit. They're just playing catch up since the start of this map up here. Is there any chance they can take this into a bit of an awkward round and start to gain some serious ground against Spirit?
Well, what I'm loving here from Spirit is when you compare the style that they played in Dust 2, and even in their last series, it was so passive, so slow on D-side. Here on Inferno, we're actually seeing some quicker stuff from them, a little bit more pacey, a little bit more in the face of their opposition. Seemed like it was an early B fake out from Banana, bringing that push in towards the short position. Crucial going aggressive up from mid is not going to get punished. SDY trying to play on the edge of the smoke, getting spammed up. Oh, is he going to get a kill out of this? Oh, he catches them so off guard.
Mezzi finds a response, at least caught in the reload. Max will have to fall, but Mezzi had to cover him off, and Mighty Max has gone from being top fragger in that last map to bottom fragger in this one. Only 1 kill in this game. I mentioned him also making some great calls. I'm not sure whether that's a factor of Dust 2 or what, but I mean, they have got players around him who are starting to pick up the slacks, but obviously it's a hell of a man to lose.
For sure it is. And for Endpoint, a couple of players on this A site. Motor Smoke does go down, which is going to force a little bit more of a play out. Nade in towards that brackets position. Does do 64 down to Chopper.
Still press forward with this AK. M4 looking out here in the firefights coming in. The bomb carrier crossing out here towards the open. Oh, that spray is so awkward. Same for Surreal. 4v2. Crucial. Mezzi have got to save. A-site has been the domain of Spirit time and time again.
Jeez, they just ate those flashes, didn't they? Spirit, some of these flash assists have just been impeccable. Just the way that for Thomas and Cyril, they're just getting just so white on the site that it's difficult to establish the crossfire even after that 1-for-1 trade comes out. Spirit get up to 7, and for Endpoint, I'd love to see a tactical followed up in this round. Just things haven't been excellent. They've been a little bit individual in terms of the rounds actually being converted. And on their map pick, the last thing they want to do and give up to Spirit is confidence.
Seventh for Spirit, 1 away from taking the half. They did take the half in the previous map up as well on T-side, so wouldn't be out of the ordinary in this context. Pinnacle odds still have Endpoint as slight favorites here. Spirit have done well to, like, you know, turn this around. I mean, they've still got a chance to take the map up itself. It's obviously very early doors. They've still got to win this and then the second map, of course. Those are the in-series odds. Right now, Spirit are doing a really good job of just trying to extend as far as they can. If they can get 11-4 in this half, I think it's pretty likely that they take the map itself.
I want to even say 10. I don't even want to push it that far. They get to double digits in this first half. They've set themselves up perfectly out towards this B side, just trying to use that early util. Endpoint actually playing 3 on B this time.
Is he going to hold back? All upset for Crucial, ready and wearing to receive on the likes of Magic's. Finity thrown over, Flash is missing out, M4 gets that 1 kill, Mir trades it back at least. Crucial is so blind and peeking out in the open with his back turned to the T-side forces. M4 here for Mighty Max, can line up 2 kills and Dexter responds to a 2 versus 2. Blind fire with a Deagle, unable to get the kills against anybody. Do they go for the retake without a kit here?
They kind of have to. They have to believe in themselves to win this 2v2. Spirit, they've even got another smoke. They could just slow this whole post plant down.
Ready for usage on SDY's part. The Eagle facing with a slight gap in it. They'll grab an AK. They'll grab one of the kits as well that would drop nades in. Caught off. Surreal gets his kill. AK involved for Thomas. Where's Dexter? Where's the last man? Molotov out towards Dark. Looking in. The AK spray catches the bomb diffuser. Now Thomas to wrap the corner of his own right. And Dexter just lands the headshot. 3 kills for him, and Spirit will hold off against the force buy.
They've been so good in some of these clutch situations, just the way they play off one another. And that was a 1v2 that needed to come through from Dexter, just playing out from that new box position. Great little couple of kills coming through from Mighty Max, just holding for as long as possible, getting onto that bomb. Surreal just being spotted before that smoke blooms. Dexter getting their instant headshot onto Thomas, gets Spirit up to 8.
It's the half gain for them. Endpoint were able to bring this back from not to 9-6 in the previous map. If they can do so right here, there's still a chance for them. They'll let this go to at least 9 because the eco is inbound for them here. Eagles involved for one player, P250 on another. USP's out for Mezzi taking fight in against players out there towards that banana control. Deagle start facing here. Missed his window out towards that mid control as the strike comes in at the site. Mac 10 does deal with the Deagle. P250 also falls back, and yeah, it's one's the formality rounds. Bomb going down, and Endpoint, well, they know it's over.
And what I'm loving from Spirit on T-side is it really doesn't feel like they're making a lot of mistakes. Like, individually, they're looking sharp as ever, and utility is another just great talking point for them. They've proved it on Dust 2, they've proven it again here on Inferno, the flash assist, the utility damage. And Mir, of course, 17 kills and 6 deaths. He was proper quiet when it came to that first map. Yeah, he got like 20 kills, but in terms of the impact frags, didn't really feel like he was getting a lot of involvement. Same could not be said here on Inferno.
Yeah, Spirit still dominant in the first half, much like they were over on Dust 2. And again, this whole scoreline, this whole scenario was the big thing we're talking about with risks of Endpoint. Punish picking in against the Spirit side as opposed to going for a strength pick. Smokes down as Surreal holds the M4 alongside Crucial. Turned away from with Thomas as well. Smoke ahead of Crucial position. Flashbang's turned away. 4 kill found to the first man. Surreal will fall in turn. Crucial was getting taken out as his own teammate. Mighty Max traded as Chopper works in. Out of Boiler, Nafamasa Mezzi falls back out of position. Thomas drawing even more attention now towards the brackets position. Finds 2 more kills. AK Amir caught off guard as well. SDY will recover a fight and can get a bomb down to the B site, but it's going to be another 1v2 clutch for him. He's already found the first kill out of the 1v3. Smoked across and should get the bomb down. There's a gap in it though, actually. That might not be as easy.
Yeah, that was not the best of CT Smokes at all. He gets spammed up to 7 points of health, fakes the bomb plan, tries to draw them into the open.
This is risky. This is so risky. Both players still going to get spotted. And SDY still makes it work. How? How have Endpoint let that one go?
Oh, he's so low. What another great clutch coming through from Spirit. It really feels like, Jay, no matter what the circumstances, anytime they're in a 1vx, you've got to give them the opportunity of doing the unthinkable. Thomas did so much into that round, and SDY gets away with a 7 HP clutch. That is unreal.
That's the kind of round where you're screaming if you're Spirit. And an Endpoint will be raging at that. Of course, the issue, of course, here for round 15, but this could be an 11-4 like I predicted. SDY gets 2 more to add to his tally. Mighty Max can trade the man Mir, known around the corner, and Max can get him to fall, but there's Dexter with the York pick to respond, and now Crucial and Surreal. Deagle's left in play to clutch this in 2v3.
It just feels like they're getting slammed here in this first half. Endpoint really not finding much success at all. And for Surreal, he's the only player out towards the A site, peeks in for brackets. They know exactly where he is, and now they can just put the aggression on.
Hey, his damage and Senior is to suppress. Surreal might need some backup pretty towards this. Continues his spam. Molotov going to drive him out of the way. Magix rounds the corner. Surreal looks away, expecting a flashbang, but no. Crucial. Caught off by Chopper, and it's 11-4 for Spirit to close out the T-side half. Much better from them in map 2, very similar to how things have gone down in the last series as well. But is it going to close out the Spirit's favor? Will we be off to map 3, or do Endpoint have a few tricks up their sleeves?
I think they might. Will it be enough to take it 2-0? I don't think so. Spirit have just looked like they are so strong. And just a better team here on Inferno. Endpoint, they've tried sort of stacks, they've tried being a little bit more gambly. We've seen the aggressive approaches, but individually, they're just getting outclassed. So many multi-frag sequence, so many clutches. We've seen, what, 4 1vx being won for the Spirit side? I can't remember the last 1vx situation that they didn't win. It seems like any time a clutch presents itself, they win it.
I remember that they were in a similar situation on map 1 as well for the likes of Endpoint, and they still were able to bring it back in a second half, so I wouldn't be so quick to write this one off. Give the Brits a bit of a chance here on their favorite half as well. Again, the T side, where things can really get together here for Endpoint. Small tech pause before we get into the pistol round itself, and if Endpoint want to take a win here on this map, I think they've got to very definitively take this pistol under their wing. They've got to take it, I think, probably pretty efficiently, I want to say. Efficiency, all required for Endpoint, and all things that Trustly have. Of course, you can choose Trustly to make your payments flow quickly from bank account to account. Don't let your playing experience be disrupted by slow payments. No cards, no app, no download, no registration. You can try making payments at pinnacle.com/odds, where it's an option if you want to place a bet on this matchup. Still get your bets in for this map as well against Spirit and Endpoint. If you believe that they can somehow bring this back, then that's yours to exploit. Ping problems, of course, being the official reason for Spirit to call a technical timeout. And to be fair, that has been pretty characteristic of CIS teams in the past, so we'll just let that spike itself out, flatten the curve, if you will, and get back into the second half.
We're seeing a substitution. Ping issues. Might as well chuck Swaggy into the mix as well. Let's get the UK lads going. I think they played in Pinnacle Cup, didn't they? The Jets played in the group stage.
I believe you might be right. That might exclude him. That might exclude him, therefore, from being a possibility. Yeah, no, Jets versus 1 win. Yeah, that was in 1917. They came really close.
There we are.
Shout out to the Jets, guys. And shout outs to Endpoint for making this one an entertaining affair thus far. Again, still a map away from taking the series in the grand finals. But that's a very hard graph to get it back here. 11-4 into the T side they go. Double flash and smoke, single flash smoke for Crucial. P250 for the man as well. Endpoint slowly and efficiently making their way into the apartments.
It could just be another pop out. You've got at least a little bit of util to work with. You could see a moto smoke going down, flash over the top. There are a couple of players on A. The long player could get exposed though.
Smokes on. Here come the T side. Tax forward from Chopper. Dexter also trying to hold down some decent kills in. Finally, they get one, but it's two coming back for the T's. 4v3. Magic's known towards the brackets. And oh, what? Jumping around the corner, getting Messi's headshot. So it is an even man standing as the bomb goes down.
And that's the util they can't use, allowing that retake to come through. Two players out from the short position for the City side.
Flashes forward. PT50 tapping. Second flash involved. Magic's dealt with easy. Surreal. Traded. Thomas responds. Crucial in the back. 2v2. Desperate to find something as Magic gets overwhelmed. SDY trades it again. Diffuse. Trying to look for the bomb. Where's it planted for? Back wall. Seen by Crucial's angle. Still stuck upon it. SDY trying to see if he can bait this man out. Crucial just peeking left and right. And now it's definitively being stuck so he can just tap his way forward. Get the round together. And get an all-important pistol for Endpoint. They needed that one.
What was that shot coming through from Magic's out towards Boiler, dealing with Messi, dropping that util, but even with some really great fights being won out, it's still not enough to get that whole round together. I think he was like mid-air, right?
That is just some like spin to win and pray to the Lord Almighty that comes together crap. Like, oh my word. Endpoint not faltering because of it, though. Again, they gain the pistol. Try and deal with this force by round, of course, for the Spirit's side, but the FAMAS of Mir will take the damage and get the opening frag.
Crucial saw so many players in from that mid position, and rather than just ducking his head down and not taking the fight, he actually tries to commit to that. Does a fair bit of damage onto Mir, but opens up the opening opportunity for Spirit to get the opening man advantage. HG go back out towards the CT position, does do a little bit of chip, but a bit more of a fake, and actually that might draw some of the rotations over.
Worth it to do so here. Scout passed off towards me, and I noticed as well there's three players with rifles in this round for Spirit. Magix and Chopper and SDY, in fact, have all sacrificed their Kevlar to give upgrade rifles and armor towards the likes of Dexter and Mir. Mir getting away with that one frag is going to pass that rifle back to SDY, so... Slow walk in, smokes down. Mir forced away with it. Utility and the execution. SDY is going to wait alongside Dexter in the B, in the A site. They'll hold the two kills in the crossfire, and Endpoint just not ready for this. AK trying to recover. They're being bracketed in by Magix as well, and Mighty Max can only get away with one pick as Spirit return easy. And Endpoint were not ready for rifles in that round. They concede.
You've got to imagine that you're up against a force buyer, right? But it seems like they just crack under the pressure. They lose the opening man advantage, and that crossfire out on the site, out from Graveyard, and deep into the site itself is just way too strong. SDY and Dexter just working together, and in terms of entries, they do not flow at all. Great utility coming through from some of the City players over on rotation. Amir just trying to assist out by those flashbangs, and a 12th round gets regained. Endpoint, they have to force it up, but they're running out of opportunities to come back.
Yeah, Spirit putting on a significant back foot here. This one might significantly hurt them in general just because of the nature of the economy now. Pistol one. All sport back, of course, puts them on single stage loss bonus, so this could go to 13 with this win, and then 14 with the eco after that. From there, we're 2 away from map win for Spirit, and Endpoint will have to make up like, what, 9 rounds? A lot of work to be done, and Endpoint know that they're in a really bad position. They have to be careful.
It's an amount that you don't want to think about. Let's put it that way. Spirit, even in this round, it's vital. Yeah, it's not do or die, but they put it on. They just apply so much pressure. Endpoint starting to regroup out towards the top of banana position. They have boosted a CT player up to the flower pots.
Good tag off on SDY. I think there's even 1 point of damage, actually, so not even that great. A slight gap there in the... CT cross looking down. Information. Surreal executed by Magix. Just deleted from server with that headshot. Only lurker back towards the A site as the B hit comes in. Smoke goes down. SDY. And Mir in the crossfire. SMG in particular. Raider received them. Hit that boost spot. They'll see the man, but SDY and Mir still hold the crossfire. SDY gets himself a double in. Can't make it a triple, unfortunately, and Messi won't be able to get the SMG to drop, but 10 seconds to grab the ball and plant it, and I think he knows that he's got no chance in this round. He'll try his best to go for a quicker plant, but yeah, CT's all around him. There it is, 13 for Spirit, only 1 casualty taken.
And just that whole round, not really looking that competitive. They didn't really offer much at all. And you could see those odds just up on screen, 2.57 for Endpoint to take the whole series. Remember, bet €10, get €10, especially with the sign-up code of Cup21. Check out the fantastic betting sponsors of Pinnacle that's getting involved in the entire event. Of course, Pinnacle Cup. And of course, 3% on Endpoint's map pick. Jay, look away.
It's
not look good.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's it. That's it. Never coming home.
Well, I mean, it hasn't always been that bad for Endpoint. I've had a couple of spikes over the course of this matchup, so I'm hoping that there's going to be some resurgence in the last few moments. More internet issues, this time on the case of the Endpoint side. More time to mull over the situation that they're in right now. Again, being down by this margin, got an eco inbound. Maybe look for a bomb plant in this next round, get a definitive buy together, and that way they could do something against the Spirit Cab. Notice as well in that stat book as well, somehow there's been a suicide in this series. Now, I haven't even spotted it, so I've clearly missed out on something somewhere.
Yeah, I don't remember there being one either. Could have been just like a molly or something like that in just the chaos of a round. Restarting PC. There we are. The quick one too. Nice and simple.
Who's missing? The big question.
Well, just look at the
short few moments.
I was gonna say, just look at the kill counts and see who's bottom fragging. Yeah, that's another thing as well for Endpoint. Kill distribution out in the first map of Dust 2 was really impressive. Like, it felt like no one was lagging behind. No one was especially leading the charge in terms of like a star number, like close to 30 or anything like that. But when you start having a look in this map of Inferno, Mighty Max hasn't got to double digits. Surreal hasn't got to double digits. We're going into round 19.
You gotta remember as well, Mighty Max was the big fragger of that last map, so the idea that he's falling behind again, it's so detrimental, I think, to Endpoint. And again, there are certain players that you look at and think, well, why are they not doing better to try and, like, patch up the, do some patchwork on the line. But I also look at this and I think to myself that for Endpoint, they're falling behind no matter what the issue is, so gotta find a way to change that up some point soon. Obviously, the main focus is going to be about this tech pause, which we're currently working on resolving, and hopefully it won't take too much longer before he gets back in server. Yeah, you can imagine that Spirit are in high spirits themselves right now, and you can see a little bit of smiles on their faces. They're pretty happy at this moment. And again, the main reason being is that, look, they are a few rounds away from recovering off the back of another disaster Dust 2, and if they can do that again, it's Endpoint that are the ones that be on the back foot, because the next map coming in is one of those maps which they don't play that much themselves. I mean, they've got a few more maps on record by comparison to Spirit, but I honestly want to say that Spirit are the stronger team on Ancient.
Yeah, you're probably right, to be honest. I want to give a little bit more leniency in terms of the Forza Spirit. I was more so leaning the Forza way. But now leaning Endpoint Spirit on Ancient, I kind of do want to lean just a little bit more further in favor of the CIS squad, only because Endpoint's Ancient, it's been hit and miss, unlike Forza's. You got to imagine too that, yeah, just the whole thing is the pressure as well. We mentioned it. Endpoint can't remember the last time they played in a big event. Can't even remember, or because it hasn't happened, that they played in the grand finals of this kind of an event before, an A-tier event, because it's never happened.
Not in history. Any context, in any situation, Endpoint have never been at this level and competed at a grand finals. Not even in tournaments where they should have been able to do so, like the Eliza Invitational. Like, that was a tournament we thought that they'd go pretty deep in. And,
Snow Sweet Snows, none of them.
Nope, none of those either. Only really dominating the likes of like the premierships and things like that.
The local stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Even
I don't think
last
they made
Pinnacle
the
Cup.
grand finals of like the old UK Grosvenor circuit, did they? Like, I don't even think they did that. So.
Oh, that's ages back though.
Yeah.
That's the old Endpoint lineups. But yeah, even the last Pinnacle, they went out against Big in the quarterfinals, so didn't even have an opportunity of having a bit of a run there. But let's just see how much of a run they'll have here on Inferno. Spirit, 3 more rounds. It really does not feel like much at all, and we could actually be going into map 3 relatively quickly.
Donny tells me the same thing here, Drake. Endpoint will have to eat up this eco round, play out the defaults for it. Personally, if I'm them, I'm just beating utility towards Bernardo and try rush B. Maybe play an execution to waterfall, dive out of the apartments, go towards A. Get a bomb plant at best, but not really get much here in this round, I don't think. Spirit, they know that they're at the advantage. They know that Endpoint have nothing.
Yeah, there's no chance of getting a bomb plant. Like, without any kind of util, without even an upgraded pistol, it's so tough on Inferno. I mean, even those waterfall setups, without the flashes, you're just not going to get in. So, I guess in this sort of position, the more time wasting they do, the more re-smokes we see, and more utility just gets baited out by Spirit, which is just going to start not so much tanking the economy, but just making it a little bit more expensive, that Spirit have to buy up that util going into the next round, and just hope that you don't get farmed by the SMG.
There's the SMG to get our first kill in. Mir's going to steal one back here. Crucial camera tunnel towards one individual, but they're so low HP now that from here, easy pickings for the rest of the CT forces. Nades up, M4's in. One man left in Mezzi. And yeah, he's dead and buried. 14 the board Spirit. Endpoint, one final buyback. One final chance at glory right here. They've got to make this work. They have to hold this round. Else it's ancient calling.
Yeah, this is last chance saloon for sure for the Brits to just see if they can hold a bit of contest, hold their life just a little bit further here on Inferno. Spirit just playing with so much momentum, and even with the money behind them, they've got a fair bit. They've got an AWP out for Dexter, the AK to work with for Magix. 3 players over towards the top of Banana, and just look at the first kill conversion. 11 out of 11. Not one round in which they've had a 5v4 if they lost. Also meaning that there have been 3 rounds where they've gone 4v5 and still won it as well. Endpoint. Very true.
Not encouraging, not able to punish or trade something back on the Spirit side. And I guess the trade frags have definitely been a low statistic for them. Mighty Max. Leans in with flashes over. Chopper. Also in the likes of Surreal back as the flashes come in towards Banana, and Endpoint do take a little bit of map control.
And Mirror and SDY don't give up a massive amount of info and actually hold on to their util. I wonder when they place the HE into the mix.
There's Mir. Kill found on Mighty Max. Up here for the likes of the CT defensive here towards the B side. Crucial taking some damage. M4 wildly spraying, receiving some more of their own right here to the CT side. 35 to the clock. Endpoint are still trying to work inside here towards Banana, but finding nothing at all. They're going to have to counter-rotate. They're going to go towards the A site.
If they don't commit with that, look at where the util standpoint is. They're going into brackets without any information. They got 1 smoke for Moto. That is it!
Incendiary down for the CT side as well. Siphon off that long control. 2 players on the crossfire. Magix in at pit. Chopper on the site. AK
Saving.
and FAMAS. Yep. That's not a good sign for Endpoint. Bad calls, bad reads, and it seems like everything that was going right for them over on Dust 2 has not come through for Inferno. It's map point for Spirit. 10 map points to work with. An Endpoint staring down the end, I feel.
I can 100% say that that's nerves. That whole round right there. And it does come down to Spirit having some really good counter utility out to that Banana position, because Endpoint put all of their utility to B. And then there was smoke, there was a HE, there was a flash. And they realized to themselves, well, we just got no more util. Mighty Max is the only one with upgraded utility going into the next round because everyone else had to save.
Warp in for Dexter. Ready to receive them at the crack angle alongside Chopper here at quad. Chopper gets us first and foremost. Surreal takes some damage. AWP flashed off, blinding Magics. Can swing back around, deal with Mike's. The AWP being pressured up close and actually does end up falling as meanwhile Surreal will burn. 3 versus 3. Bomb trying to commit to the site and Thomas turns up the case. So Endpoint have the advantage. They have the site and they have the plant. Spirit do not want to go for this retake. They want to save their weapons. Concede it back. Allow another survival round here for Endpoint.
Jeez, that's a lot of respect for Team Spirit. You're in a position where there's so much money, but you start thinking to yourself, we're 15-5 up, is it worth it? And it's probably just Chopper putting his foot down and saying, guys, don't go for it. It's not worth it. We'll hold on to our weapons. We'll keep the economy strong. Because you have to anticipate there could be a comeback. And the last thing we want to do is throw away a 2v3 when we have looked so solid in the second half. We've got so much more of a better chance of converting one of the follow-ups than going in for a 2v3 retake.
(15-6). And again, Endpoint able to keep things together for the time being, but for how long? Again, as you mentioned, Dweg, one round's all they need. Oh, God. Pinnacle have no faith. 1% win chance for Endpoint. And to be fair, given how many rounds Endpoint need in a row, I don't blame them.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's a very, very difficult long road ahead, and even up towards the early banana contact, they are going to put some early nades in. Counter utility will mean that SDY is actually going to be burning quite a lot. Oh, the molly! Oh, it doesn't spread. He's somehow still alive.
14 HP though. He can't be alive for much longer, I don't think. Here, Spirit. Forcing Endpoint back, at least for the moment here. The rotation's back in towards the mid control. They will go for the rotate much early in this one. On the campaign towards A. Again, it's only Chopper and Magics to defend.
Out to this A site, getting those cross smokes down, out to the long position in particular. SDY just trying to see if he can group into the mix.
Man joins the fray. Endpoint sending 3 players out towards long. Sun Magic, Mighty Max will take some damage. Burst through onto the M4, tags and even further. 2 points of health, flash forward. He's easy picking some magic, so makes it a 3K! Oh, the sprays! Looking for the quadra, and now Crucial alone. Magic set for the ace, and what a way to close it! Spirit take Endpoint's map pick. The punish point punishes the Brits. And now we go to uncharted territory. Ancient, the final map of the Pinnacle Cup is up after the break. Once again, Spirit must play 3 maps to get this series under their wing and take this tournament away from Endpoint, who have, of course, taken the upset against them earlier on during Dust 2. It was Ancient that was played as the map pick of the likes of Forza, and now it will be the decider of the entire thing here between Endpoint and Spirit. And Dweg, honestly, man, like, we've seen very similar stuff coming in from the Spirit side. We've seen a close loss on their own map pick, a dominant taking their opponent's pick, and now the third and final map here. Is it gonna be another win for the CIS squad, or will Endpoint take the trophy?
I've been more impressed with Spirit just over the course of this best of 3. And the caveat we've got here is both teams have played Ancient today. We saw it go down on Sinners in map 3, and now we've seen Spirit play Forza on it. And even that, like, it was proper one-sided. They were proper rolling them. So going into this last map, I'm expecting it to be relatively close, but I think Spirit can take it.
I think so too. I'm all aboard the Spirit hype train in terms of this one. I'm still sticking my prediction of Endpoint, though. I'm still holding out hope for the boys. But one final map to decide it all between Endpoint and Team Spirit. It's the pistol round. USPs and Julie's out for Thomas to start things off over in Trito alongside Crush, who does get overwhelmed by Dexter. So 2 for 1 of the trade response. Spirit have the advantage. Are they ready for Mighty Max? They'll check these corners. He'll get the first head in, unable to get that second player.
Oh, jeez, Dexter's just having a bit of a game himself, isn't he, in round 1? 3 kills to go through him. Crossmoke's on the site. That allows the bomb to get planted.
Straight down on default, no chance for Messi to really find an angle to work with. As you mentioned, that smoke siphoning off his vision, and the same thing for Surreal. And Spirit want to back away even more passively here towards this defensive. You see that one player out towards Cheetah who's continuously watching the backstab. SD1 and Chopper are eyes set back into the back lines. Dexter deals with Surreal, all left on Messi. No Kevlar, no kit. No chance, it seems like. Dexter with a full-blown ace. We closed out the last map with an ace, and this one will start with an ace. Spirit, get the pistol for it.
God, they've won so many aces over the course of these playoffs. Spirit just seems like they're adding more and more to their tally. And in terms of confidence, that's got to boost someone like Dexter up, who's been a little bit quiet at times over the course in this best of 3. That could be the Kickstarter to really get him up. And for Endpoint, that whole round came down to the retake and the 2v3, just not really having much opportunity at all.
Force Invest will obviously come through here for the Endpoint side. The Eagles, the 5-7s. All the regular stuff for the CT side, and the spam through of Mezzi. Running back here past the smokes that have already been set up here with the T-side lines. Again, that lane control. Tang nades back here towards the donut position. Mighty Max get forced away here. He's just forced to fall back at the moment. No kills against him.
And this opening damage has done quite a fair chunk onto the Endpoint side, and for Spirit, they're now starting to regroup in that lane position, looking to try and make a bit of an emphasis out towards this B side. Notice how there isn't a lot of SMGs actually for Spirit. It's pretty much rifles for everyone, only 1 MAC-10.
See if Mir can get some money together against the 2 players that don't have helmets in this, so the further 3 might be a bit more of a difficult affair, but focusing in on the B side play for Spirit again. Careful placements as SDY does take his damage. Doesn't get killed off yet.
And they are slowing this round down just with the counter utility, but for Spirit, doesn't seem like their game plan has changed at all. A couple of players out from that cheater angle, and the majority of them out in ramp.
Molotovs and Chopper getting involved in this round. SDY will follow suit on Mezzi. 5-7 here for Thomas. Can't line up on the likes of Magic's a little... On the frag, and the player in the back lines was so heavily tagged up. Could have easily been a kill against Chopper's name, but alas, not to be. An Endpoint. See the second back to the T's.
They've got something that they can bring into the eco into round 3 of these 2 players of Crucial and Surreal, but just that B side being completely opened up. And now I kind of posed the question to you, Jay. When we saw Spirit against Forza on Overpass, it was just B take after B take after B take. And I start thinking to myself, now on Ancient, if B is successful, they might just keep hitting it.
Could well do. And we have seen Spirit be very one-sided, or one-sighted, I guess you could say, on these maps so far today. We saw others on Overpass a little bit earlier on against Forza, how many times they just wanted to go B site hit, B site hit, B site hit. We're doing the same thing right here and right now. The Pinnacle odds, Spirit is heavy favourites. And I can't really blame them too much here, Dweg.
Nah, not at all. It's a good start for them. Be able to get pistol, deal with the anti-force buy. Now up against the slight upgraded pistols. This is a great opportunity for especially someone like Dexter to just start farming up money. Allow yourself to get that orb going into the next rifle.
AKing on this part alongside SDY. 2 frags found. Galil bursting on Magics will deal with the player behind the smoke. That's Thomas. Crucial and Mighty Maxwell. Not really much that he can do with this one. Easy eco clean up with the MAC-10s. Getting involved now for Dexter to get the money together. Be nice if he can get a second kill, or maybe Chopper to get the teammates, but that will be Dexter with the $1,200 to his name and 3-0 start for Team Spirit. Guns out now for Endpoint. Let's see what they can do.
They can invest into the AWP for Dexter, but there's also that opportunity of taking it as one of those sort of heavy bonus rounds. We know that Crucial doesn't have any head Kevlar, Mighty Max doesn't have any head Kevlar, and you would pretty much know that there are going to be some players without it. And knowing that you're going into the opening rifle without really the last few rounds doing much damage at all, instead of getting the AWP, they're actually going to upgrade him to an AK.
One decent weapon involved. Still 3 Galils out here for the Spirit side, though, so they're still going to have a little bit of a lack in firepower overall. The 2 AKs, I think, should be absolutely fine with it, though. Dexter and Mir. Same with the big greens again down towards that ramp position. 1:20. Careful placement from the T side, going to wrap their way forward. Thomas seeing Chopper, spraying him down, not getting much of a kill there to start off the round. Dexter, however, will offer up his chance, and Thomas takes both the players out through the smoke. So, 5v3.
And that was proper gutsy coming through from Dexter. Just wanted to push through that smoke, and even with the follow-up spam, Mezzy down low, but 5-on-3 advantage. Mir's trying to create a little bit of a space out from mid. The jump spot from Mighty Max has not seen him as of yet.
Will fall away entirely rather than continuing to hold the mid phase. Flashes over from SDY, trying to enter into the A site. He's all alone, though, so there's not really a lot of breathing. I mean, he needs his T-base to get back here soon. Counter-action utility will smoke him off and suppress 35 seconds for Spirit to hit.
It all just comes down to how quickly can these entries come out. Surreal playing out from the temple position. He's got Mighty Max there too.
Gonna burst through on the M4s. Meanwhile, Mighty Max sees Mir. Mir still gets the kill involved, so it'll be a 2-for-1 with one response finally found here by the Spirit's side. But there's a gap in that smoke for Surreal to work with. He still can't find the pick back. And SDY, now a known entity here. He could potentially find the man in the midst of the smoke, though. Burst fire, spray through, trying to deny the bomb plant. Does damage to both the players, but no kills. SDY turns into a 3v3 as a result. And now they're working in against Thomas out of the donut entrance. In mid, he falls, and Crucial and Mezzy are falling back to save.
Jeez, they're sharp, aren't they? Yeah. Really, that whole situation, that's a 3v5, and they just make it look so easy. First of all, Mighty Max just gets caught getting aggressive, and Mir just instant swing out from that donut position. Surreal gets a little bit of an unlucky timing. He's kind of spamming to deny that bomb from going down. That doesn't happen. SDY sneaks in front of that smoke, and then even Magic's that swing again from that donut position, dealing with Thomas on rotation. Endpoint had a perfect start to that round, but look at the scoreline, they didn't convert.
It's 4-0 flawless so far here for Spirit and Endpoint. Now you start getting those little concerning feelings, those notions of, oh, are we actually about to concede this really one-sided? Having had the best chance we have to get around, secure something here, but that's just not happened. Let's see what they can do with it. Of course, in the next half bite, might not be too much. The Eagles could do some damage. The Spirit should be the ones to win this round, I'd say.
Yeah, you'd have to expect so. There really isn't a lot for them to work with at all, and even with this AWP and M4, you've got to imagine that they need to set themselves up for a way to not only try and recover them into the next round if it's possible, but find impact. Don't just let them sit, sleep, and deep into the sites because you want to recover them. No, you've got to find some impact out of it. You've got to try and target up the economy for this T side. And it seems like it's a little bit of a gamble. They've got 4 on B in this round.
Plenty of presence to hold off for the moment. Walking in, the M4s leaning up. Mezzy. I find something above that smoke. We're seeing so little so far. Dexter instead with the AWP out. Has Mighty Max to face him. Wrap around the corner. There's Dexter with a pick back on towards Max. So one man again. Of course, only a deagle that they just lost there.
That was a great shoulder peek just to bait Mighty Max forward. Crucial getting smoked off. Has to reposition.
Molotov's continuing to go towards the back lines. Magic's going to burst fire. Smoke's back involved here for the CT side. Raps involved. Man here up on the site itself. M4 face in. Mezzy does catch that one frag. Not quite the second though. Mir with a response, and a bomb plant will be secured.
And they're going to try and sneak through this smoke, but really you've just got to make sure that AWP is staying in play.
It does indeed find a frag on Crucial's part. SDY caught to a 3 versus 3. Eagles in. They're going to continue facing here, actually. Ashes round the corners again, looking towards the back corridor. Surreal caught next by Mir. Thomas trying to lean forward with an eagle. The AWP just scoping in everywhere and out to the likes of Dexter. He'll pick up the frag. He'll pick up the round here for Spirit. 5-0.
A little bit desperate for Endpoint. I would have liked for them to just hold on to that orb, just stabilize the economy, and, well, they're getting a hit in terms of the half. They're getting a hit by those odds. Almost 6-1 now for Endpoint. And remember, not many opportunities to get a bit of a punt on, so bet 10 euros, get 10 euros using the code on the site up Cup21 over at pinnacle.com. Check them out. Because this is the last map, Jay. And then the whole tournament, it's over.
And last chance to get yourself involved. Last chance for Endpoint to get something out of this, but Magix are just not letting them go further at all. Thomas, first man down immediately out of the round on the B side, and they just feel so confident now with Spirit. You said that you pinned them to take the victory because they look more impressive, and it's plays like that that really just separate them from what Endpoint are doing.
And they just don't look nervous. They don't look scared in these duels. They have that ability to just turn up when they're confident, and they're wide swinging. They're taking a lot of aggressive fights. There's a little bit of a lurk out towards that A main position, so they could start shifting that bomb over. And in terms of Endpoint's position, yeah, you've got Cerulean from Donut, but he's the only player close to the A side.
60 seconds. Some sort of way in, going to have to be found relatively soon here. Pick out from Mighty Max instead, goes aggressive towards elbow, catches that one frag. Oh, transfers in a second. Chopper trades it back in a 3-on-3 context. And A site will be stormed up here by Spirit.
Rotations are slow for Endpoint. They're not really bringing a lot of players over. Crucial has to be smoked.
On him back, ready. Hoping for contact phase. Shadow being seen. Gap in that smoke. Surreal gets the kill instead. Magix doubles up to return. Number 2 versus 2. Shots ringing out from Mezzi and Crucial. Bomb plant will be secured, and this player being spotted. And there comes the kill and a double up. Mezzi won't deny the bomb plant, but he will get this first round in for Endpoint. So there you go. Breaking the streak of Spirit, but they're still in control.
And that whole round pretty much fell apart with that util. Just with that gap in that left-hand side of the smoke, it gives Mezzi the confidence to kind of peek through it and not have to worry that someone's just watching it straight away because of the information they've already built up on. Mighty Max, nice aggressive play out from elbow. Only got punished really late after he got a couple of kills.
In this stage here, with how far on the back foot the Endpoint side are, you kind of need a risky kind of play or a risky kind of decision to make. Obviously, with Ancient, we talked about that being the case in terms of the vetoes. That whole play coming in from Mighty Max is going to set them up. Do some damage right here. Take away some potential in the follow-up round as well. SDY, first man to fall.
Yeah, Spirit on the bit of back end of actually losing that opening man advantage. Endpoint, eyes out on that mid control. Mir starting to now at least make a little bit of a play onto the AWP, but there has been a lot of moments in which the CTs have left mid relatively overexposed, a bit of an over-rotation over towards that B side. They are going to have 3 on B for Endpoint.
Set to the back lines, a couple of players on the site itself. Spirit. 60 seconds for the hit to come through. AK of Mir. Molotov Mezzi out of position. That'll be successful for the moment. He puts actually a smoke down to suppress. Sprays continue back on the Thomas' position. Will do some damage, but instead he gets a dink off to return. So, HP advantage now above the Spirit side. Endpoint forcing forward. Kill on Crucial. Chopper responds. Bomb can commit to the site and get planted very quickly as well. Going to go for the wallbang sprays here on Mezzi. We haven't seen any of these kind of plays out from them. Dexter will get tagged for it. Chopper will turn some sort of damage of his own right, but it doesn't equate towards the bomb plant being denied. Instead, it equates to players forcing forward. Mir in the backlines, though. He's seen the 2 players tap to their heads and brought it back to a 2v2, but not for long. Mighty Max has struck again, and it's all on Mir. Or picked up, knowing he's got to land both of the first shots against their players. Indeed, Max will fall. Mezzi on the bomb. Smoke has gone down, sticking the hole defuse. Mir's got a swing. Mir's got a sting. Glock comes out. He does so much damage, but doesn't get the kill in time as Endpoint steal a second round.
Oh boy, that wrecks the economy, even though for Endpoint, everyone falling, and for Mir, he knows he's got a better chance of trying to spam move that smoke with a Glock rather than the AWP. He gets so close to being able to deal with him, but not enough. off. Endpoint, they've won 2 rounds in a row, but still the buy looks horrendous going back. Mir trying to recover that round all by himself. A lot of damage coming in. Endpoint looked like they were going to have a really simple retake in that 4v2, but it came down to the wire.
Only use the AWP instead. That probably would have been enough. Get the round back for Spirit at Endpoint. We'd set to a significant back foot. Smoke execution coming in towards the A site. A couple of players are out there to defend against it. One player held back behind one of those smokes. In the donut entrance, Molotovs to the back of Plat as well, expecting there to be a CT player holding, but instead Surreal's the central contact. He's looking for a gap in that smoke. He's found one. Here in Magic, spotting him out and getting the kill to open up in this round. Will take some damage to return. Meanwhile, Crucial finds his own gaps in the smoke back at Temple. SDY, next casualty. 5-on-3 for Endpoint. And look at the number of CT forces there are here on rotation. Thomas gets caught by one, so that's a frag. Still no sight gain here for Spirit.
Oh, they've got to clear out this Temple position. Mir follows up with a double kill, but the numbers game is still in favor of Endpoint.
They're swinging out. Crucial drops him. Triple for the man, and Dexter 1v3 to find every single CT. He knows of at least one. Unaware of the other two, and no smoke. Try and smoke off this donut entrance. If he had that, he might have been able to find a new way in. He's going to challenge Crucial first and foremost. There's the frag. Second player out in the open. Mighty Max was hurt, I believe. Dexter's going to wait for his chance to present himself. He is running out of time, though, so the CTs don't really need to face it. They just have to wait for the timer to run out. AK switched out to for Mars. Now being seen back towards Donut. 16 seconds, and Dexter's going to go back to the AWP. Swing against the man. Smoke involved. Mighty Max pressed in. Sprays blind. 14 HP. And Mighty Max in the middle of the air. Grabs a headshot. Grabs the third round for Endpoint.
Recovering that AK over to Mezzi, and just realizing in that situation, you could probably just bait out the AWPer. You just jump over high, try and see if you can get him to miss the shot, but Dexter just trying to recover that the best that he can. Rotations came in really quick there for the Endpoint side, and that just helped the whole situation, especially for Crucial, just staying alive for so long, being an absolute nuisance on that crossfire.
Great tight crossfire as well for Endpoint to hold that defensive, and great nades down, initially doing damage but not getting kills. Mir finds Max getting way too aggressive, and now Surreal hold it up against him. Finds the frag on Mir first and foremost. Dexter finds another kill to return back on Mezzi, though out of lane. He's not ready. The man advances that returns to Spirit.
And that's a massive shame. Knowing they did as much nade damage as they did onto SDY, Mir, and Magic's in elbow, that's such a huge advantage to work with. And instead, it's now gone the other way. And now with the aggression from Surreal out of Donut going into mid, he's left A completely.
Focusing fire on the B side. Will now start to get back to the CT spawn, but they've already started the walkout. It's got to hold this backline position and tap basically through towards every head and every spray. Damage done. Smokes down, Surreal getting involved. Flashbangs, Molotovs. Also getting back the incendiary on the bomb site. Might stall the bomb plant for a moment. SDY can't afford to risk a sight stick. I think it got extinguished by the smoke though, so it doesn't extend towards the bomb plant position. We're 3v4 for this retake. I don't think Endpoint want to do much with it. Yeah, they'll fall back.
Now, Endpoint have been a team in this best of 3, and even over the course of the playoffs, where they're not really risky, are they? You do get some teams out there that even in a 3v4, they think to themselves, we've got this. We've got the confidence. I feel like Endpoint are on sort of more of the side of, okay, let's just save, let's play the economy game, rather than having that risk factor. And it's a point of perspective, isn't it, on how you sort of structure the team? Because, yeah, they save, they're able to force the buy going into the next round. They keep a strong money line. At the same time, though, if you don't have that risk factor, are you going to be able to overwhelm a team like Spirit?
That's the main issue, isn't it? Taking the risks. But also knowing that Spirit could still beat you in spite of those risks, just due to how good they are. Endpoint. There's some serious wondering and discussions in their side of what they're going to be able to do to tackle this from here on out. Of course, they are still on the back foot, and losing that round is going to limit the buy quite badly too. The save weapons are the only things that stay in, actually. Mezzi and Mighty Max aren't even going to invest to get a P250 out. That's it.
Now, even in that situation, you start wondering to yourself, why didn't they go for the retake if they weren't going to force it up in the next round? Instead, just taking it as a half buy. Nice little boost for Thomas to work with to look in towards Ram, but so far it's just been shoulder baits. Finally, a bit of an angle has been given up. Crucial aggressive! Oh, he lines up a couple!
Good night, Chopper and Magix. There is a trade available, and they have taken it on Dexter's part. He's going to peek back into the big green, and the AWP is hunting for his triple. He can't make it happen. Mir can find Mighty Max at least. Be a 3 versus 3 for now. Molotov's down. 60 seconds left here in this round as the teams start walking their way into the B site. And also towards mid, where Mir will catch off Surreal, but doesn't get the kill.
He knows he's done a lot of damage, and for Endpoint, do they just gamble stack this? Do they just completely rotate over towards the A side, take a little bit of a risk in this, knowing the situation they're in? Beautiful sequence out for the AWP, but they need more. They can't just rely on the 3v3.
Orpin gets his triple. There you go. There's that man advantage. Favor of Endpoint. 30 seconds. The Spirit to get down to the site, and AWP is still watching his entrance. Over at ramp, the K position might be the flank angle that Mir needs. It's back in control. 17 seconds, and they're going to flash their way forward. The AWP has seen it, gets it out of dodge here. Further utility down to the smoke. I think they might have missed out, actually. They'll still cross towards it. There's a big gap towards the bomb plant position. The counter flash involved, and finally, the bomb site will be secured. Nades on SDY. AWP's around the corner. Sees his man. Baited in for the AWP shot, actually. So, something available here for Spirit.
Now, SDY needs assistance from Mir. They've got to try and work together in this post plant. Everyone coming through from the back lines.
AWP in, rotates around. Flash catching, SDY waiting for his moment. M4 in your face. Finally, Crucial gets his quadra. Now looking for the ace. He has lost Surreal in the turn of it. AK out, AWP switch that to the M4, and Crucial adjusts towards the man. Mezzi on the defuse, but Crucial's got the kit. He's holding the 10 seconds. I think he's just going to have enough time for this.
Oh, okay.
Indeed he does. And then Crucial credited with the ace for that particular round. A lot of aces in this series, and it's one for Endpoint this time.
A bit of a whiff coming through from Mir, isn't it? Out from that cave entrance, just not quite getting that spray together, and it allows the just wrap up to come through for the M4. Beautiful ace in from Crucial. Nice lineup to start off in the round, and just being the one to end the round.